Yeah, we already had the discussion. All right, guys, we're done. Thanks for watching. So, everybody, hey, this is Zombie Collection. I'm here with Victor Negron. We're gonna do a little talking.
¿Qué
We'll probably
pasa?
spoke. Yeah. We'll probably do mostly wrestling talking, but we might kind of let it go all wherever the conversation heads. So if y'all have questions, if y'all want to jump in and ask and chit chat, we can. But
Well, yeah, we
I
can
want to
start with what I was just talking about.
You beat me to it. I was going to say, let's talk about the shocking news of the day you had brought to my attention.
Yeah, we've all been kind of talking about it recently with the wrestling card prices going up a bit. So I started checking some of the rookie cards of like some of the big names. So I happened to check the John Cena rookie this past week, and it ended last night. I didn't see it till this morning, but I saw it ended at $300. And there's a card that Raw, and there's a card that like for years you could get it for like $5. And I have one. I should have got like 20 of them. So I'm gonna take one out today and put it in a top loader right here on your channel.
Oh my gosh, dude!
It can no longer be in the binder. I don't mind keeping some expensive cards in the binder, but every now and then it reaches a certain price where it got to come out of there.
Right. Well, if you're telling me a $300 John Cena card just popped today, then it has to come out of the binder. I agree with you.
I mean, I doubt it'll stay in that range, but still, I gotta take it out of there.
Well, even if it goes down, some. We're still probably talking about a couple $100.
I'm gonna see if I could watch a few more, kind of see where it levels off at.
Yeah. Well, like you were saying before, and I had came across that card came out of the 2002 series, right? Top series.
Actually, let me get it right here. My binder's right here next to me.
And who else is in that series? Who else is some of the rookie cards?
There's Randy Orton, which I don't think I have. I had it back then, but I don't have it anymore. And Batista, I think I have two of the Batistas.
And I want to say there's one other guy that's in there. There's like 4 guys that were
Brock Lesnar. How could I forget Brock?
Brock Lesnar, right? Brock Lesnar. So
Brock's Minnesota Vikings card has gone crazy too.
I know. I saw that. Did you now? You know what I didn't know, and to kind of go backwards a bit about the Rock card, the Bumblebee card. Have you heard about that?
What's that?
The Dwayne the Rock Johnson, when he was like with the University of Miami. They had a boosters club magazine they did for like people who went to the games or something, or like given to the faculty or whatever. And inside, I remember back in the 90s, they used to have like 9 like a 9 carded like a poster inside with like 9 cards in it.
Yeah, like those magazines always did back then.
Right, magazines back then. So he had that, and one of them was Dwayne Johnson, and he's like in his like football position. And that card right now is going like thousands of dollars right now because that's his rookie card.
I know Goldberg had a card, I think, in college or something like that.
Yes.
But I didn't know about the Rock one.
Yeah, you gotta find. Yeah, you gotta look it up. Just type in Rock Bumblebee in the eBay, and those cards are going through the roof. There it is. You got them, top loaders, baby. Finally,
they're super valuable right now too.
I know. I have a connection now who he works for BCW.
Yeah, I still need some other sizes, but I got some of the regular ones.
Well, you let me know. I might be able to hook you up.
And I got what's this? I got the 79 point.
But that's not as good as 69 point though.
I don't even know how many points they have right now. All right, so here it is.
There it is, John Cena. Man, oh man!
I had this whole set back in the day. I got rid of it for like $8.
Oh, geez. But you didn't know. You never know.
During these times, you regret every card you ever sold because everything's going so crazy.
I know, but there's no way of knowing when you sold that probably a decade ago or whatever that it's gonna end up being what it is. No one knows. No one knew. It's impossible to know.
A lot of my NBA stuff I sold, I can't get it back now, and I just cringe every time I see it.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And the thing is that and I think we all fall in the habit. Like I don't think no one's really not guilty of this. Is that now that we became aware of what's going on, everybody's trying to get in on a good deal on whatever sport you're like into, thinking that if you're lucky you can turn around and flip it. And you just never know. You might get your good deal you might find might not be there by the time you get it, or by the time you get it slabbed and come back. The market might have, cratered for that specific player or sport. Like, you just never know right now. And you think, I'm going to try to recapture that what I got rid of a couple years ago. Like, I'm going to try to find it, re-find it, buy it, and then try to get my money back and then some. And it's like, that.
Yeah, I got to talk myself
out of that happens pretty unlikely. What was that?
I got to talk myself out of that sometimes. I see certain cards and I want them back, but I don't want to overpay for them now. So I just,
the thing that I always think about is that, and like, I know you do the same thing. Like, you're pretty careful with your budget collecting. You're not popping on huge cards all the time on your channel or anything like that. But, it is nice to know when you do get a good deal. Like, if you find a lot of cards or you buy a card at a good price or whatever, and then all of a sudden it goes through the roof, like kind of the John Cena you're talking about or whatever. Like, you're like, oh my gosh, like, I have that card. So then you have the dilemma of like, do I get it graded? Do I go ahead and sell it raw? Do I hold on to it? Let's see if it goes up in price. Am I stupid for holding on to it and then it goes down to $25? Like, there's all these ideas going through your head.
Yeah, I'm a collector, so I hold on to most of that stuff. Like right now, I'm going to top load it, and it's going to go with like my wrestling hits and stuff, but I'm not planning on flipping it.
So even though $1 Million Man says everybody's got a price, Victor, do you have? Is there certain cards in your collection for like stupid money you would let go of, or you're just like, you're too much of a collector that you really can't do that?
Well, this won't really happen, but like life-changing money, obviously.
Sure.
Well, say, God forbid, like I'm in a situation where I really need some quick money, then I would flip some stuff. But thankfully, I don't really have to worry about like I said, Cena going for 300 right now. But thankfully, I don't need $300 right now, so I can just keep it.
Right. So what happens if it hits 600?
I don't think it will. What are you trying to do to me here? I wish Batista would go up higher because I have 2 of the Batista, so I could flip one of those.
Right. Batista's probably, how much is he right now? 100?
I didn't even check. I should have checked, but sure it's not up there with Cena though.
No, probably not. Which is kind of surprising because Batista, out of all those guys, is the biggest. I mean,
it was both of them during that time. It was Batista on SmackDown and Cena on Hollywood
star. So
I mean, maybe it is going for a lot. Like I said, I haven't checked.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to know how it turns out. I think Randy Orton, who's he's done movies too, and he's done some crossover stuff like TV shows. But I think he's the only one out of those guys that's never really left wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's always been there. Everybody else has taken breaks or walked away. Huh?
And he's still there.
Yeah, he's still there. And like, I've never been the biggest Randy Orton fan. I don't know how you are with him, but I've always just kind of like, and like, he's doing some stuff now with Bray Wyatt.
With him, I always say it's kind of like the same way I am with Triple H. Like, it's kind of like a love-hate thing. Like, there are times where I'm like, all right, I give him his respect. He's doing a good job. But there are other times where I'm like, man, I'm just tired of this guy.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like, I just with Randy Orton, I'm just kind of like, man, I can take him or leave him, and I guess that might be the worst place to be as a wrestler. Like, you want heat, or you want people to adore you because you're the baby face, or you want heat because you're the heel. And if I just kind of look at you and I'm just kind of like, meh.
Yeah,
like, that's probably the worst thing.
I put some of that blame on, the people running the company, people writing the scripts and all that, because they flip them so many times back and forth that they kind of make them kind of stale.
Yeah, I agree.
Just kind of let them stick to something for a while, and they really do this with everybody. But I just get bored with him sometimes because it's like for a few months he'll be a face, then he'll switch for some reason, but then he'll switch for another reason 2 months later, and it just it's too much.
Right. And they don't let enough story build up to get you invested in whatever direction they're heading him in. So, but WWE is notorious for that in the last decade, if not longer, of like not letting stories develop or just create some randomness out of nothing and then trying to get people to invest. So I was going to tell you, I went down a rabbit hole the last couple of days, and I've been watching. Do you remember back in the 80s and the 90s, Saturday Night Main Event?
Oh, yeah.
WWE. Do you remember? Okay. So I hadn't watched those probably since literally the 80s when they came out, or like the 90s. I hadn't seen them since. And they're right now on YouTube, shockingly. I mean, I would think the WWE would shut that all down.
I would think only want
you. But, I mean, there's not like maybe every episode, but there's quite a few on there. And I had totally forgot about when Jake the Snake Roberts ended up having the Cobra bite Randy Savage. But then that I didn't forget that. But afterwards, he ended up slapping Miss Elizabeth in the mouth, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like you can't like that was like so surprising because you don't see that kind of heat on TV anymore. You can't.
There's no way they could do that.
No, I mean it was like a straight up smack in the mouth. I mean I was like, "What?" And I'm sure camera angles and everything, that doesn't look it's not really as bad as it looks. But I was like, "Wow!" And then like Randy Macho Man Savage, like in every episode I watched, he's like, talking down to her, throwing her around, treating her like dog crap. And I'm like, man, I cannot believe I was like 7-year-old Jason watching this. Like it was like mind-boggling.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of the like early Monday Night Raw episodes, and I've been thinking the same thing. Like you couldn't get away with half that stuff now. Like especially even the characters they had, and just the way they talked about something. You had Bobby Heenan on the mic saying all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yes, it was nuts, man. It was absolute nuts. But I was watching that, and then like, there was one where Hulk Hogan was wrestling Nikolai Volkov, and after he beats Nikolai Volkov, he takes the Russian flag, rips it off, is just shining his shoes with it, like the bottom of his shoe with it and stuff, and then takes the flag and throws it. And I'm like, man, like, it's so funny because, as kids, I'm sure maybe you were the same way. You didn't even bat an eye at that. Like, you're just like, yeah USA or go Hulk Hogan or whatever. But like 2021, even though I'm a pretty conservative guy and I don't get offended by much stuff at all. Like I'm pretty much like, just do whatever. I was just taken aback by, wow, like we're not doing that anymore. Like that stuff ain't happening.
Yeah, because back then you would see that like in all the movies and shows and everything. So it was like nothing.
Yeah. You just don't think twice about it. And I'm not saying good or bad. I'm not getting into that. But it's just like, again, it shows you like a time. Huh?
I'm saying it's bad.
You might, yeah. I think it's good to have good heat. Like that kind of heat gets you. But the thing is, Hulk Hogan was doing it. So it's not heat. You know what I'm saying? Because he's doing that. He's taking the Russian flag and doing that. I wouldn't be heat. Everybody loved that. But nowadays, you have like a pro-American character doing that to whatever flag. Pick Iran. People would lose their minds.
They would get all sorts.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you would get canceled. But that's the kind of heat that you can touch almost back then. That kind of heat or that kind of excitement. And I think that's one thing that's missing in wrestling now because you really don't care about who wins or who loses. You don't really like the bad guys can't be really that bad.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That before, like, and sometimes I go back and forth. Like, I almost feel bad, like blaming the wrestlers sometimes. Right. In many ways, their hands are tied, like what they can do and what they can't. Especially in WWE, they're like so like handcuffed to what they can do. It's tough to create a really good heel in WWE because like anything that when they try to step outside of it, they get in trouble for it.
Yeah, and I think that has a lot to do with the culture. So it is interesting to see if you go back and watch these time capsules of wrestling in the 80s and the 90s, like you said. I'm not offended. I'm not upset. Nothing. I just watch it and go, wow. I wonder what a young person would watch this now. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who doesn't have our history. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who was born in like 2008, 2007, 2001, and they go back and watch 1985 WWF wrestling, like with no real knowledge of the product. Like, what would they be thinking?
Well, there's videos like that. There's videos of people like reacting to stuff like that, and they're like so shocked.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was just like, it was just crazy. Like, and then do you remember Hillbilly Jim and Uncle Elmer and all those like hillbillies?
I remember Hillbilly Jim. Yeah. Yeah,
like they had one where like his cousin or whatever gets married, and they have a hoedown with a bunch of pigs and all the stuff at like a reception, and there's like literal chickens and roosters, and they're all running around, and like Hulk Hogan's there at the wedding reception, and like it just feels weird. Like, is this really happening? And they got them all like rednecks. They're all like good old boys with rednecks, and I'm like, I just don't know. Like everybody was at the next level of their like stereotype. You know what I'm saying? Like there wasn't just your run-of-the-mill black guy or Asian guy or white guy or Hispanic guy. It was like if you're a white guy, you're like a hillbilly. If you're this guy, it was just kind of mind-boggling. Like they just took it to the extremes.
Yeah, even like into the 2000s, I had forgotten about this, but I've been seeing like some of those clips recently. Like they were still doing some stuff. Like, do you remember a team called Crime Time?
Yes.
Like I was watching some of those clips and people were reacting to that, and they were like so shocked by the way they were being portrayed because it was like such a stereotype. Like they wouldn't do that now, no way.
No.
And that was like 06 probably.
Yeah. Well, even wasn't this like 2012? They had the one Arabic guy who wasn't actually even Arabic. He was Italian, pretending to be Arabic, and he was like going around talking about crazy like stuff. And then they
ended up that?
I can't remember his name. I want to say
was that Jinder?
It was
Was Jinder Mahal?
No, I don't think it's Jinder Mahal. I think it was somebody else. Like he had some like really big matches, and he was getting lots of heat because he was talking like all about like being judged and being misrepresented and all this stuff. But he was being a heel. And basically, he was getting so much heat because he was kind of like the Iron Sheik of the modern day, you know.
Yeah, Vince loves doing that same angle over and over again.
Right. Well, then the whole London bombings happened, and there was obviously extremists that were involved in it, and so they finally was like, we can't do this character anymore because it's becoming too real, and they made the guy just disappear. Like he just disappeared, like it never even happened. And that was like 2012. So even up till then, there were still, like you said, certain angles that were extreme on certain stereotypes. So I can't remember the guy's name, but he was a pretty big guy for a while, and he had some pretty big matches with Triple H and a couple other guys. But yeah, anyways, yeah, you're right. But I was just so surprised by that about the wrestling back then. Now, when you're growing up, when did you first start watching wrestling? Like, do you remember what year you kind of got into it? You're like strongly into it?
Well, I remember, I don't know if it was the first time I ever saw it, but it was one of the first times I saw it. I remember my dad watching it in the living room, and I was just like crossing back and forth in front of the TV, like kids do.
Right, sure.
I'm sure it must have annoyed the hell out of him.
I remember the TV back and forth.
Do you remember a guy called Hercules Hernandez?
Oh,
he had the big chain around his neck. That was like
big chains, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was like one of the first wrestlers I remember seeing, and for some reason I was just like captivated by him, like this big guy with this big chain. And this was on the Saturday morning show, so they would fight like those jobbers back then. Sure. So he'd go in there and just crush this guy, like just obliterate him. So I was like, man, this guy's like the strongest guy ever. So I was just I think he was like the first wrestler I was like captivated by, but I don't think I like really like super got into it to like the early 90s. Again, just watching the Saturday morning shows, around that time was when Brett was the Intercontinental Champion. They were like giving him a big push. And I just started to get into it. Like I can't pinpoint like exactly what got me into it, but I just remember always watching it on Saturday morning. I didn't have cable back then, so I couldn't watch Raw, but just got super hooked on it and kept going through the years.
Now, were your friends also into it growing up? Or were you able to like
probably not as much as me, but like if they would come over, I'd make them watch it with me. But yeah, they knew what was going on. They knew the guys. They had their favorites and everything. But I would say I was the one that was like really hardcore about it.
Yeah, I think growing up, my dad was really big into it. I think he saw that me and my brother loved it, so he like really encouraged it, so we could all do together. Like a father-son bonding kind of thing. And so he never would buy the pay-per-views or anything because I'm sure we probably couldn't afford it. So, they had WrestleManias and they had, Survivor Series and Royal Rumbles and all that kind of stuff.
I couldn't watch any of those either.
Yeah, but the cool thing was, of course, you remember back in the 80s and the 90s, it was all on VHS. So, like, my dad was best friends with the guys who owned our local one of like the 20 in our community VHS shops. So they would get a screener copy of the show like weeks in advance. So even though it hadn't hit the shelves yet, obviously the pay-per-view had already happened. But then like a couple weeks later, they would already have the ad on the VHS to let people promote it, and then they would release them onto the actual VHS to rent. So my dad would be able to get the screener copies like weeks before everybody else, and we used to get to watch them. So we used to have all our friends come over, and we would watch WrestleMania, Survivor Series, whatever. And I mean, we were like hot stuff on the block, like you said, because
I wish I knew you back then.
Nobody could afford $59.99 back in the 80s and the 90s. That was ridiculous for most.
Yeah, even when they would come out on videotape, I couldn't get them because my video store had like 1 or 2 copies.
Right, and it was always
as soon as it came out, they were gone.
Right, and then they wouldn't come back. Like they would just keep them.
So what I had to do, I would borrow it from people that recorded it. You know, the old school thing. You borrow the tape.
Yeah, you put them in 2
VCRs. And then you have it.
Yeah, exactly. My dad did that too. Yep, he did that all the time. But, you know, I used to love watching those. And like you said, it was cool. But, you know, I was really surprised at a lot of the Saturday Night Main Event and a lot of the Saturday morning ones, how much pop culture they intertwined with the wrestlers, with music and like sports stars and comedians and musicians. And I mean, I remember that a little bit as a kid or as a young person. But if you go back and watch, like there is so much connection between the two, all those pop culture things. So it's no surprise that WWE blew up the way it did in the 80s and 90s. I mean, it was like literally cross-promoting everywhere. I didn't charge anything, Otto. Otto asked, how much did you charge your friends? Now they used to have that warning that says you can't charge money. If you do, you go to jail or whatever. So
yeah, you weren't supposed to copy them.
Right. You can't copy them. You can't charge money or whatever. So okay. So Hercules Hernandez was your first guy you recognized and kind of got you interested or whatever.
And of course, Hogan then.
Right. So aside from, let's say, Hogan, that might be a lot of people's first thing. Did you have a couple like faces and a couple of heels that you really liked growing up that you just thought, man, when they're on TV, I'm watching, like they're just great?
Well, yeah, all the typical names from back then. But you know, the thing is, like back then, I didn't really realize it. It was in hindsight when I started thinking about guys like Jake the Snake and Ted DiBiase. Like once I really started to understand the business, I was like, man, these guys were great. But by then they were like towards the end of their career. So I feel like when they were like in their prime, I was like any kid, like hating on them. Like, I hope Hulk beats all these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
And now looking back, I'm like, man, I wish we had guys like that now.
Yes. Hey, I appreciate that, Dave. Dave said he was going to finish up watching SmackDown. Let's talk old school wrestling is much better. I agree. I was watching SmackDown, Dave, and I actually reached out to Victor, was like, you know what? Instead of watching this kind of crappy SmackDown, let me talk to a friend and talk some old school wrestling.
Yeah, you know what I do sometimes on Monday? Instead of watching Raw, I put on the WWE Network and watch like an old episode of Raw.
Right, exactly.
So if you don't like the current product, you don't have to watch it. You can watch the old stuff.
Right, the old stuff's much better. I concur for sure. Yeah, but it goes back to what we were saying before is, you know, even though maybe like you said, like you're like, well, some of the more modern day sensibilities maybe is better. I don't know if I would agree with that, but I see where you're coming from. But like you said, those guys being the heels. I mean, you can't be Ted DiBiase and go around shoving money in people's mouths and talking down to them, telling people to shine your shoes and stuff like that. You can't do stuff like that, you know.
But you know, speaking of Ted DiBiase, you know, like early '90s, he had that tag team with IRS.
Yes.
And perfect example, like back then,
Money Incorporated.
Like, yeah, back then I didn't get it. I was like, why are they putting the belts on these guys? I don't like them. But now, again, in hindsight, looking back, they were such a great tag team. Like, I've been watching some of their old matchups, and they were just so smart. The way they did everything, the way they would, like, sell for other people. Like, one of the best tag teams from that era, by far.
And I think that's the key, though, is, like, they were good sellers. You know, like, I was watching some of the other guys recently. And just to answer your question, Otto, before I get off, yes, Jake's still going. He's on AEW. He is the manager for Lance Archer, the Murder Hawk Monster. And Dave, you are correct. It was Muhammad Hassan, Victor. When I was telling you, the guy that was got all that heat.
Yeah, that's who it was. I remembered the face a little bit, couldn't remember the name, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
But he's actually an Italian American, and that's the more he got more heat for that actually than they found out.
I thought he really was like Middle Eastern or whatever.
Right. But to get back to it, was like you're right. They sold so well. and I was surprised at like I was watching the Sid Vicious Hulk Hogan match where they had with Ric Flair and Undertaker, which can you all four of those guys, can you think those four guys in the same ring wrestling each other on a tag team? But I was watching that just a few hours ago. And that was when Sid Vicious turned heel and went basically or Sid Justice turned to Sid Vicious because he left Hogan in the ring by himself to get beat up because he was upset that Hogan was getting all the accolades and he didn't get any and all this kind of stuff. But like you were saying, like, Flair was selling for everybody. Sid Justice was selling good. Undertaker really doesn't sell because, nothing hurts him, so to speak. And back then, right. And then Hogan, he sold pretty good, I think, too, a lot as well. Actually, when you go back and watch, like he would take.
Yeah, a lot of people give Hogan crap about like not selling or not being good in the ring. I mean, he wasn't like the greatest technical wrestler ever, but he could really tell a story in the ring with when he was getting beaten down and all that. And that's that's what sold his character was him getting beat down for most of the match and then coming back.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, it's a simple thing, like you said. Like whenever Hogan was getting, like I said, when he was getting smacked around by Ric Flair, I just literally watched it. And like you said, he goes like 3 minutes just getting like his butt handed to him, right? And then all of a sudden, like Ric Flair like does like the smack in the mouth or the smack in the chest, and he starts doing that. And I mean, we look at that maybe as adults and kind of like, but when you're a kid, you're like,
oh, here he goes. Me up right now.
Here he goes. Right. You get so excited. Like, he's had enough,
No, years later, did you see the Hogan versus Rock match at WrestleMania?
Yes. Like, yeah, WrestleMania 17 or something.
Many years later, all of that still worked. Like, people turned on The Rock and were rooting for Hogan because of that same thing. Like, The Rock was smacking him around and Hogan started hulking up and they wanted him to win.
Yeah, exactly. And that story, and like you said, the story completely changed than what they initially thought was going to happen. So, I mean, I think that's the guy Hogan returned at Mania and threw him out of the ring. Oh, okay. I didn't know that, Dave. But I mean, oh, yeah, exactly. Falsey says this is true. The Virgil character would never get played nowadays. No
Although
way.
the R-Truth character sometimes like borderline, like I'm surprised people don't complain more about that because R-Truth is actually a pretty smart guy in real life and they make him look pretty stupid.
Yeah, that is true. I agree. I'm actually looking at some of R-Truth's autographs right now on eBay. He's one of my favorite.
He's super underrated. He's such a good entertainer. Like
he is. He's been around forever,
but he's so great at what he does.
Yes, I think he should go to AEW. I think he would get me used better in AEW. Quite frankly,
probably will. Everybody else is going over there.
Yeah, did you see the Big Show's going over there?
Yeah, Big Show said I think 5 years ago he said he had 2 years left and he's still going.
Well, I'm just glad he's going to AEW because he's going to do great over there. I'm excited.
I haven't been watching much of that. I mean, I haven't been watching much of anything, but I haven't watched AEW in months.
Dude, what is wrong with you? You need to watch AEW.
I told you, I mostly watch the old stuff.
Well, watching AEW is like watching the old stuff. I'm telling you, dude. I am not even kidding you.
Even NXT, which is the one I like the most, I haven't been watching that much either.
It's so good, dude. I can't. I mean, like I said, I'll watch SmackDown a little bit. I'll catch the highlights on a couple of the channels I follow that talks about NXT or about Raw. But man, dude, AEW, I'm telling you, it is worth your time. They're telling stories over there, stories that are taking, I'm not even kidding you, months for the payoff, which is what it used to be like. I mean, you used to have to wait months to finally get the story to the outcome. Maybe not the outcome you want, but an outcome, right? And they're doing that over there. There are some stories that are going on over there that's been going on for the better part of a year. I'm not even joking. It's shocking, how much they're committed to letting the stories go. And you can tell, when things change, the story changes to accommodate, they're keeping the story going. I mean, I'm you just don't see that. Like you said, we were talking about earlier with WWE, they just don't do it. WWE will come up with
that. There was a term for that in wrestling, that slow burn, that. I forgot what
it's a slow burn. It really is. So, but I mean, Sting's over there. Sting was over there. He actually got physical this past Wednesday in a fight. I was shocked.
Yeah, I'm actually worried for him.
Now,
he was almost dead last time.
No, that wasn't Triple H who almost killed him. Was it Triple
No,
H?
it's Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins, right? Yeah, he
I don't
talked
even know
about
why
his
they
death.
made that match to begin with.
Right, I don't know, but he's been taking some, he took a pretty big bump about 2 weeks ago. They power bombed him right in the middle of on the mat. I was like, oh god, Sting is dead. He's not coming back.
I worry for all those old guys when they get in there like that.
But you know who's going to come back? I don't know if you know this guy very well, but he's part of the Four Horsemen. Tully Blanchard. He's wrestling next week. He's wrestling next week, dude. He hasn't wrestled since '89.
Even Flair gets in there sometimes, and I'm like trying to tell the other people through the TV screen, don't hurt Ric Flair, please.
He's a national treasure. Don't do it. Wait, what's up, BF Golf? Yeah, I mean,
Edge,
a lot of people.
Edge is not that old, but I still worry about him because he was had that really bad neck injury. Every time he takes a bad bump, I'm scared. Daniel Bryan's another one. As a kid, I didn't really think about it that way. I was just watching it, but now I'm worried about these people.
Yeah, Edge is 49, and I was just looking up today. Rey Mysterio is 46. So I'm just like, wow, these guys are getting up there. Yeah. And the one thing, they think BF Golf. Yeah, I got the water heater fixed, dude. $1,400 later. So I'm going to be selling plasma later on this month to accommodate, to try to offset that. But
you can just flip your cards.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm going to have to do. Oh, geez. I know. Are you able to start going to shows? Have you been hitting up the White Plains show up there?
No, they're not doing it. They haven't been doing it since last year because
freaking Cuomo,
I don't know if they still are, but they were using that as like a COVID center or something, the place where they have the show. So I don't know if they're still doing that or if they have plans to do the show anytime this year. I'm hoping to go to at least one because it's been so long.
Yeah, that's crazy. Is it the same problem in New Jersey?
I would assume so.
Oh my gosh, dude. That's crazy. Man, there's a show tomorrow. I'm going to a show tomorrow in Indianapolis, guys. Apparently, BF Golf said there's a show in Raleigh, so that's cool. Yeah, I agree with you, Dave. Hassan was good, man. I mean, I thought he played a good heel. I mean, unfortunately, again, with WWE, they went a little too extreme with the heel thing with that guy. With, I mean, like I said, if you could go back to, but I think it's just maybe the sensibility. People just, back then, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong and other people, but back then people would get upset, but it was understood it's a character. People got invested in the story.
Well, some
right?
people.
Right. But let's say 90% of people or 95% knew that it was fake, it's not real. You had some people, of course, their stories that go forever that would actually try to take on the wrestlers. Yeah, that happened, but that was the exception, not the rule, right? But everybody knew that these guys are playing characters. I mean, for crying out loud, people like Sergeant Slaughter end up turning on the American people and became an Iranian sympathizer and all this kind of stuff. I mean, we all know this, right? But nowadays, people, even though it's a character, it's not real. They know it's a scripted show. People still will get upset and lose their minds, even though it's not being portrayed as realistic. People can't separate, fantasy from reality. And so that's the reason it goes back to you can't have really super mega heels anymore because, I mean, the things that you would do that would be really heelish, you can't get away with anymore. So you have to do this Roman Reigns is walking around mean mugging, and apparently that's enough to be a heel now. I mean, he just goes.
Don't even get me started on him.
And I mean, that's all it takes now. And if you wreck somebody throughout the day on 1 hour shows or whatever, then you're a heel now. I mean, geez. I mean, Doink the Clown could be a heel then at this level.
Oh, the original Doink was awesome. When he was
he was
evil and psychotic.
Yeah.
As I got older, I started to like the heels way more because they were just so much more interesting.
Oh, of course, way more interesting. I loved Andre the Giant. I loved Jason Snake Roberts. Like you said, $1 Million Man. I love those characters a lot. I mean, I just thought I loved the managers, like you said, like Bobby the Brain. He was great. I liked who was another heel, Roddy Piper when he was a heel. Then he went back. He went good, but he was a good heel. I love those guys. Those guys were great. I mean, oh my gosh, like you said, the stuff they said. There's like, no, wait, dude. Then Jesse Ventura, he was doing commentating with Vince on the Saturday Night Main Event. Oh my gosh, like he was saying so much. Was like,
yeah, all those things they said. Jesse and Gorilla Monsoon too were a good team.
yes, yeah, you would. I mean, like if people would listen to that nowadays, they'd just sit there with their mouths on the floor, probably with half the stuff they were saying. But and I agree with you, Dave. Hollywood Hogan was some of the best work he did. Like I remember when he came out and what was it, Battle of the Beach or whatever, Beach Bash.
Bash at the Beach.
Bash at the Beach, and then he turned heel. I was like, what?
Yeah, you know how big that was? Like, that's one of those like big wrestling moments that even non-wrestling fans are talking about. Like, I remember talking about that with everybody, like family members and friends that don't even watch it. They were like, they couldn't believe it because he had been a good guy for so long.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's a thing, and I will never forget this, and I want to tell you this. I was watching a documentary that ESPN, like Outside the Lines, did, like in like the mid '90s, right? So Hogan had already came back from WCW at the time, so he was already a heel again, but he was a heel in WCW or WWF at the time. And people asked Vince McMahon, so why were you pushing Hogan as like say your prayers and eat your vitamins to all the little Hulksters out there? And now he's out there like screaming in their faces and like mocking them and like all this stuff. And he goes, well, we do whatever we want to do. We just do whatever we want to sell tickets. Like none of us believed that back then. We didn't care about it. We just knew that's what people wanted to hear. Now they want to hear, you know, that they're garbage basically, and that, you know, you're stupid for believing in us. And I was just like, wow, like that amount of honesty was like shocking.
Yeah,
like
during that time,
like, I don't know if you would say that nowadays.
People were cheering the heels during that time.
Yeah,
they wanted to be cursed out.
Right. They want to get flipped off and beer slung at them and stuff. Right, without a doubt. But it's true. Yeah, I agree with you, Dave, too. R-Truth will probably always have a job because he's hilarious. Like he is really funny. I do think he borders on the line of a caricature and almost a little bit too.
Yeah,
like,
another guy that was like that was really good in a similar role was Santino Marella.
Whenever you have a chance, can I talk
What
to you?
do you? What's up?
Just I need to add because something's not working and I need help.
What is it? Not connecting?
I need to use your email. So because there's a verification code that gets sent to your email, and I can't do that because whenever I try to do it on my Chromebook, the school filters it out, so I can't get emails from random numbers.
So isn't it my email now?
So I have to use your email because last time I tried to use Mom's, and she didn't let me.
So now I have to use my email. When now?
Yeah.
Has it already sent to you? Sent to me?
I don't want to use your email.
Go ahead, send it to me. Oh my gosh, this is what happens when you have a 12-year-old. Like, you know, I have to like monitor or have everything goes through my account because or else I'm having an $800, you know, PS4 bill or whatever. So I have to have him send everything via my email. So let me know, dude. But yeah, I agree with you guys about the whole, you know, character stuff. You gotta be careful. So you said you haven't been watching a lot recently. Yeah. So what have you? That is correct. Okay. So what have you been what storylines or what wrestlers have you been watching recently or in the last few weeks or months?
I mean, really, what I do is since I have the WWE Network, I just watch the pay-per-views because they're free on there. So it only makes sense to watch those, but those do a pretty good job of catching you up what's going on. But what I notice is even if I don't watch the show for like 3 or 4 weeks, not much changes anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Really that is very true. Are you gonna buy Peacock?
I mean, I think I have to, right? That's gonna be the only option.
That's where it's going. Yeah.
I mean, I have so many questions about that I don't know if they could answer yet, but I most likely have to get it.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to as well. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna step away and I'll be right back, okay?
All right, I'm gonna go get another beer too.
All right, good deal. Go get a beer.
You like muted?
No, not really. I'm doing this while I'm like going live. That's how much I'm dedicated to this. email thing that you want me to do.
I'm sorry. Just for Mom, it wasn't working, and then she was like, "Look, I gotta go take a shower." So I was like, "Oh, okay."
All right, there's the code.
Where is it?
The one that says code. Thank you guys for waiting while I'm doing this for my son's precious PlayStation system setup. 大丈夫ですか？そうですか？本当に？わかった？大丈夫？
Oh, he's gone. Somebody else join me. Anybody seeing what this is going for now? John Cena rookie. We're talking about great heels. There's one right there. Mr. Perfect. This guy. This is cool right here. Yeah, Dave, the whole thing with the t-shirts, that used to be a big issue back then. Like, people get really uptight about like wearing the other company's t-shirts. I didn't go to any shows back then. I went like later on. I might have some Santino cards in another binder. But yeah, I loved watching him. He was always like underrated. Well, actually, while we're waiting for Jason, there you go. Loved watching this guy. I think that's before he had the whole snake puppet gimmick. Speaking of old WCW, there's that guy. Bischoff. Don't think I ever showed that one in a video. Another legend there. Love these things here, these art cards. Not even sure what they're really called. Nice one there. We talked about this guy earlier. Hillbilly. Another old school favorite there. Love that card there. Pulled that way back in the early 2000s. That was one of the few wrestling cards I kept from back then. Even got some TNA cards in here. Guerreros. A very young AJ Styles.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, you're missing my whole showcase here.
I'm sorry. Sorry. You lucky. I'm sorry. It took me flipping forever, dude.
We're talking about the truth.
The truth will set you free. Man, dude, you lucky. You know, I don't cuss, or else I'd be cussing right now.
What?
Oh my gosh.
The Rock.
The Rock.
Big,
Do you smell?
big ring patch there. They love using those ring relics.
Now you got some real fire. I'm like a pretender compared to you, Dave. I'm not Dave, Victor. I'm looking at Dave's comments. But you got the real. You got some straight fire, man.
I'm trying not to show the stuff that's gonna be in the video tomorrow.
Oh yeah, right.
That's a cool Mysterio multicolor shirt thing.
Oh, was that like part of his costume?
I think it says T-shirt relic. Although I don't remember him wearing a T-shirt.
Well, he's wearing lots of shirts now. Like he always comes in with like that. Like I don't even know what you call that, but like I don't even know, Baja or whatever.
What's the deal with his son? Have you seen his son wrestle?
Yeah, Dominic.
Like, can we be honest? Like, I don't think he's that good. Everybody's.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird how much they're putting him over, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he's okay, but I mean, I feel like his last name gets to be his real last name is Gutierrez, but his last name is Mysterio.
To me, he's like any of those other generic guys.
He gets to leapfrog over everybody else who's been working really hard to get into it, who are like on NXT, who've been, years and years of practice and working out, and he gets to leapfrog them all, literally leapfrog them all over. Is that KO, baby?
His signature was a bit better back then.
Yeah, I like KO. I know a lot of people kind of poop on him, but I think he's cool. I like his character.
Oh, here you go, Miro.
Oh, dude, Rusev here. I gotta show my Rusev. Boom.
I might have that one. I can't find it in here though.
What up, Chico? Cuban collectors in the house.
How about Kurt?
Oh, Kurt Angle, dude. Yeah, look at that. Look at that, like, crappy signature.
Oh, this is a nice one. Not an autograph, but there you go.
Oh, man, Paul Bearer, dude. Oh, man. He's like, yes, Undertaker.
I showed this one while you were gone.
Oh, dude,
Love
man.
I wish I had more of them. I used to have a lot of them back then.
Oh, man. Those is that sticker, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that is like straight up 1985, like I was talking about, Saturday Night Main Event.
Yeah, my brother used to buy those, and at one point I had like almost the whole set, but like everything else, got rid of it.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, hey George, well I'll give you a call tonight, or not tonight, maybe tomorrow, and we'll figure it out, buddy. Oh, Jonathan got that Cuban collector, or got that Hogan.
He probably has
That's
a grade
right.
at PSA 10.
Oh man! So let me ask you, either modern day or from the past, do you have a wrestler that you really liked that you thought other people didn't really get into? That you thought, man, this is a really cool character, a cool wrestler, that everybody else kind of was just like, nah. Did you have any of those guys?
It's kind of a spoiler for the autograph I'm showing tomorrow. No, but I'll say it is Carlito.
Yes. I have a feeling
he was decent in the ring and he had good personality and everything, but I felt like they gave up on him real quick.
Yeah,
I think part of it was he was kind of resistant to a lot of the like backstage coaching and all that. So I think they had some clashing there, and they ended up letting him go.
Yeah, I agree. What about on the flip side? What about somebody that you didn't really find that entertaining, you didn't like, but maybe other people did like, that you thought like, man, like I don't see why everybody likes this jobber.
I mean, there's like so many guys on that list. But here's kind of an interesting one though. Like Cody Rhodes, when he first came onto the scene, and people were building him up and all that. I didn't really see it. I was like, what's the deal with this guy? And he came in, and early on he was tagging with Ted DiBiase Jr.
Yeah.
I always thought DiBiase Jr. was going to be like the bigger star. I thought he was better. But then over the years, it kind of flipped. Like I started to see more in Cody and realized that DiBiase Jr. was not going to be anything. But
yeah.
So sometimes I could start out feeling like this guy ain't that good, and they could change my mind.
Yeah, and I think like now, and like I said, I have not watched. AEW brought me back into wrestling. I got to admit, like before AEW, I hadn't watched wrestling in decades probably. Like I would catch bits and pieces of the modern stuff. Like I always, like you were saying, I watched the old stuff. I still like that. I hadn't watched, and so like I didn't know who Cody Rhodes was really. I didn't know who Ted DiBiase Jr. was. I didn't know how most of those people got. Most of these guys right now, like John Cena, Batista, those guys, like I knew them because they kind of transcended, WWF, whatever. So when Cody Rhodes was at WWE, I barely knew who he was. Like I kind of,
you missed out like on a whole era there.
Right? Yeah, I mean, like literally 20 years. I mean, like I kid you not, I probably stopped watching. I wasn't a big fan of the Attitude Era actually. I wasn't a big fan. So even though I kind of kept up with it a little bit, I wasn't like a huge fan. I just wasn't really into it. And I definitely didn't get into
about the Attitude Era. Like I loved it, but I feel like when people look back on it, they make it seem like it's better than it really was. Like they make it seem like it was perfect, like everything was so great and everything. Right. But they had plenty of misses back then too. They had a lot of stupid storylines and things that just didn't hit. It wasn't all perfect.
I did not. Yeah, they were definitely not for me. I felt like it was more misses than hits. Now I did like the Monday Night Wars and all that. I liked all that back in the day. I just didn't like it after they finally got taken out. WCW got taken out. I just never got into it. So I missed like literally 20 years of wrestling. And then I got to be honest, like AEW popped up one time on my AEW Dark, which is their YouTube show that they show once a week on Tuesday nights. And that popped up, and I was like, you know what? I'll watch this. It's free. it's I'm watching it as it happens. It's right in and now. It's not like from 6 years ago, so I'm just watching the crap. It's like this is happening right now, and I was like blown away by what I was watching. I was like, what in the world? Like this is great. And they were showcasing so many new wrestlers I'd never heard of that WWE passed on or didn't want to give the time of day or release or whatever. And then I started watching Dynamite. And then I started watching all their like little segments they would start doing, like little like building characters. And I got back into it. And so with all that being said, I started finding out about Cody Rhodes. And so like I said, I barely knew who he was from back in the day. Like I picked up a couple box sets of DVDs like Royal Rumbles or Survivor. And, he would show up in it because he's one of like 30 guys or he's in a tag team. And I wanted to get it because I wanted to watch, one of the big old guys I used to follow who happens to be in that series or whatever. And so I was just kind of like, meh, but over on AEW, he's like a beast. I love him. Like he's really good. But I could see when I was watching him younger, I was like, this guy's kind of weak.
Yeah, his WWE run was kind of like peaks and valleys. Like there were times where like it just seemed like they weren't doing anything with him. There were times where it started like they would give him a character that seemed like it was going to be trash, but to his credit, he would make it into something. But
like Stardust?
It seemed like over time, like he'd have times where they were kind of pushing him. Then he'd have times where they were kind of burying him. And they just never could figure out what they wanted to do with him.
Right. I agree. And, and then like I loved, Dustin Rhodes. I love the Goldust character. Yeah. I always thought it was so just strange. And I mean, it was like, I don't know. Like, it's just so cool because now that he's over on AEW also, you almost forget about Dustin Rhodes because he's like such a legend and he's so good. And dude's 50-something years old now. I mean, he's like Chris Jericho.
I've been watching the old WCW Saturday Night.
Yeah.
He was on that like all the time. That was like what, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago?
Yeah. I mean, like, and the cool thing is sometimes he'll do the Goldust character, in AEW, but he doesn't he can't wear the outfit, but he does like the moves. So he does like the, all that kind of stuff. Or, he drops down to his knees and then punches him like right in the face, all that kind of things. Like, it's just cool because it's like this little glimmer of the past that he's bringing over now to this, the things that he used to do. And I just love like those little winks to the crowd and to us fans because, the new people, they don't know that. They probably don't know nothing about that character. But we can appreciate that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I like those kind of little winks and nods to the characters. So, yeah, Dave, who are you talking about? Who's not being pushed? He's not ready pushed for a storyline. I'm assuming you mean Dominic Mysterio. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm like totally behind on the chat.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like I get into me and you, what we're talking about, then I look over the chat and I miss some stuff. What up, Dustin? What up, Sterling? Thanks for popping in, guys.
Dave picked up a Booker auto. I want both of the Harlem Heat.
Yes, yeah. What was the other guy's name? Like
Stevie Ray.
Stevie Ray. I want to say something.
I didn't know a lot about him, but when they put him in the Hall of Fame, he got up there and he talked a bit, and he actually had like a huge role in Booker T's life and everything. So it's fun to learn stuff like that.
I mean, I thought they were probably the best tag team in WCW's history, quite frankly, him and Stevie Ray. I thought they were awesome as a tag team.
Yeah, back then, like I was such a WWF fan, so I would watch WCW and I would like pick out like guys that I wanted WWF to get, and they were always one of the teams that I was like, I wish WWF would get them.
And I liked Harlem Heat because they didn't really play up like we were talking about caricatures and stereotypes, of during that time. Like Harlem Heat kind of stayed away from that. I felt like it quite a bit. It was just like they just happened to be black. They were just two great wrestlers. You know what I'm saying? And they just whip up on everybody. It didn't really matter. They didn't really play like a big.
To be the manager.
Who was it? Sensational Sherry. Yep. Yeah, and I mean, I really liked that because they just did great in the ring. Like it didn't matter what their background was. I always enjoyed that. And then like when they brought over Booker T, I don't remember Stevie Ray coming with them to WWF.
He never come over.
Right, and then like Booker T kind of was a jobber. I felt like for a couple years, and then he started doing the King Booker thing, and he started getting like a lot more recognition. Finally,
yeah, he's another one of those guys. He was like sometimes he was way down. Sometimes they pushed him all the way up. Sometimes he was like mid-level. Like they do that with a lot of guys. Like they can't quite decide like where they want to put them.
And I felt like they did that a lot with the WCW guys in general. Like they just pushed them down.
Yeah, definitely.
And they wouldn't let those guys have any moment in the sun. And so you had to be like a real special talent like Booker T, Chris Jericho, who finally like broke through because they weren't going to just let you come up the ladder. They're going to make sure that you either stayed mid card or they let you say they gives you a little moment in the sun and they take it away from you.
Like anything else, like you had your guys that were there and established. It's like going into any other new job. Like you have your people that've been there and they're kind of looking at you like you're trying to take their spot and all that. And I'm sure there was a lot of that going on. Oh,
I'm sure. Well, because like, WWF never had like a cruiserweight division. They never had like, they really never cared about little guys.
Well, yeah, they made the fake one. They made the light heavyweight division, but they only had like 3 or 4 guys in it.
Right, exactly. But then when they brought over the WCW guys, you had Kidman, you had Dean Malenko, you had Mysterio, you had Jericho, you had Benoit, you had Guerrero, you had all these guys who were like
guys from ECW too during that time.
Yeah, ECW also, correct. And so you had a lot of those guys that could actually, not only be low level like the Intercontinental champions, but they had enough wrestling prowess that they got real runs at the World Championship, the heavyweight, like the Benoits and the Guerreros and all that kind of stuff.
Hey, that's twice you mentioned Benoit already. We're gonna get knocked out of here.
What? Oh yeah, but Benoit, yeah,
we're not supposed to mention him anymore.
Yeah. Well, I'm not talking about what he did. That was obviously awful, and no means am I glorifying that. But
they've completely erased him. Nobody can even say that name.
No. Yeah, it is. It was weird. Like I watched an interview that his son did. He got interviewed by a guy named Chris Van Vliet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a really interesting interview for sure. Obviously I feel bad for that poor kid. He's probably our age at this point. I'm assuming he's around our age because he was like 8 when it happened, maybe 10 when it happened. Maybe he was 12. So he was he's younger than us, but not by much. But anyways, I really felt bad for that poor kid because can you imagine? I can't imagine. So let's see what was Dave saying. I missed this. I didn't like Cody until he broke his nose and had to wear that shield, and then his heel character took off. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably they gave him that gimmick, which was it seemed stupid at first, but he made the most out of it. He made it interesting.
Yeah. Dave's saying he thought the Attitude Era was better. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not there's parts of the Attitude Era I like, but honestly, I was a high school student during most of the Attitude Era, like middle school. So I was like the perfect, like literally perfect demographic for the Attitude Era. You know what I'm saying? Like I graduated in 98 or whatever. So I was like in high school, then I went into college. Like that was like the demographic they're looking for during that time. And I just was like, I just felt like there was more silly storylines, like you were saying.
Looking at it and comparing it to now, wrestling. Like what I say was good about that era is they at least they were more open to letting people try stuff. Like, it wasn't like now they try to control. Right, like now they try to control every little detail about how you speak, how you dress, how you act. Like back then, they were willing to take some chances, and if the guy would fall flat, then that would happen. But they were at least willing to try a few things, and that's how they found some of their gems during that time.
Yeah,
and there were guys that weren't supposed to be stars during that time that became stars just because they gave them a chance to try some stuff.
Exactly, and it's very telling because of the few WWE stars that have left and went to other promotions, most importantly AEW. Not even on AEW's shows, when you have them when they get interviewed now and they ask them the differences between the two companies when it's a third party podcast or YouTube channel. So it's not like they're having to talk up AEW to make how great they are. They just ask them point blank, and they said they just interviewed Vicky Guerrero recently, and they said that she was saying that she would be scared to death that if she said something wrong or she didn't remember something or they gave her a script and she couldn't figure out the entire script ahead of time, she's afraid she's going to get fired because, like you said, they had to stick to the script. They had to memorize all their lines. They had to know their character. They couldn't go off the script. They couldn't try new things. They couldn't suggest ideas. And I heard that from her. Big Show mentioned it before. Jericho's mentioned it.
Yeah, and
a lot of these guys, Rusev.
If people like that feel that way, imagine how like the lower people feel, because those are pretty big names you mentioned there.
Right.
So if they're afraid, imagine these new people coming in. That's why they don't really try anything, because they feel they have no stroke in the company to really step outside like that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, George. Yeah, you're just a few years younger or older than me, buddy. You graduated in '84. But yeah, I agree with you, and I agree with you too, George, about independence. A lot of them have some, they're a lot more free to kind of do what they want. But I do feel like AEW lets them do a lot of what they want. I mean, I think the big thing with AEW is they let you come in with your own gimmick. Like right now, Rusev, aka Miro, like you were saying, like he has a gimmick right now on AEW that I don't like. I think it's stupid. But you know what? That's what he wants to do. He's a big time gamer. Apparently he's on Twitch or something.
I think most of them are now.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, that's his thing. So he has his gimmick where he's like all about video games and like, don't bust up my video game system and I'm gonna kill you if you do. And I'm just kind of like, oh my gosh, like what? But you know what? When he gets in the ring, he destroys people. So it's like, Lana. Okay.
He needs his Lana to go over there.
Yeah, yes. And they also let the character grow, like you said. And like even with the Sting stuff, I was telling you earlier, like they introduced Sting like literally the first week in December. Like he shows up and everybody like loses their mind. Like I'm the one. I'm like literally almost in tears. Like when Sting comes out, I was like completely caught off guard. I was like, what? Like I had heard somebody say, you want to watch it because there's like something magical happens on this show. And I'm like, okay. And I started watching it, and like his entrance is completely different, of course, than what it used to be. And so I'm like, okay, so I know it's somebody big coming. Who's coming? And then when you hear Tony Schiavone go, it's Sting, and I'm like, what? And like I was like, 10-year-old Jason all over again.
Yeah, that's how I reacted when he went to WWE, because like he had never gone there. And again, when I was a kid, I'd see him in WCW, and I would want them to get him. And there was always like rumors that they were going to get him. Like I would buy those. Like they call them dirt sheets or whatever.
Yeah.
They had all the rumors saying that they were trying to get him and whatever, but they never did. So when it finally happened, I was like marking out like a little kid, but then they totally ruined it.
Yeah, well, AEW's been doing a good job with it, but my point was like, because I didn't like the way I love the way they introduced Sting, but they've had this 2 month, not even kidding, storyline where this Sting walks around in the camera. And everybody's supposed to be like ooh and on, and they do a little jabber jogging between him and Taz, and Taz's like group, and then him and there's a new guy you may not know named Darby Allin, and they're like teaming up together because they kind of look the same. They're like Darby Allin's like young Sting, like he has the black and white makeup, and he's like kind of like the Crow character for the 2021 crowd and all this stuff, and like so the last 2 months it's just been them having staring matches every week, and I'm like, come on. And but now it's starting to pick up. They've laid the foundation, and now it's picking up. Like you're starting to invest. So I appreciate that. They didn't like introduce Sting, and then like the very next thing Sting's doing, he's like whipping up on everybody, doing stinger splashes, and all this kind of stuff. Like it took a while to get there.
And speaking of Taz that you mentioned, that's another guy that I felt like they kind of underused in WWF.
Oh. Without a doubt. They stuck him on the mic instead of having him in the ring. Like, all those great years that he could have been in the ring, he's on the mic, doing color commentating or whatever. And I agree. But, man, Taz put somebody in the Taz mission or whatever. He put Cody Rhodes in it a couple weeks ago. He put him in there and locked it in. It was awesome.
For a few years, he had a radio show, and he was really good at that, too.
Yeah.
Because he was able to just speak freely. He has a lot of interesting opinions about the business.
Yes. And also I could tell like he's a commentator on AEW Dark. And so that's like a 2-hour show usually. And so it's him and there's another guy named Excalibur. But, Taz is on there, dude. And I got to admit, like before that, it goes back to what I was saying before. I knew Taz as a wrestler on ECW. But I didn't really know his stuff in WWE. Like, I never really watched it because I didn't watch those years. And then when he went into commentating, I kind of was like, who is this guy? Like,
yeah,
is that the same guy that was in the ring?
That's it. Watch his debut in WWE, and that's it. Don't watch nothing else.
Yeah, right. He comes in with the towel on his head or whatever, that's it. But him on Dark, and then on Dynamite as like their manager, he's great, dude. He's hilarious on that microphone. Like he's always like, shut it off. He's like, cut the music, and then like he just like goes on just like rip somebody, and you're like, if anybody else try to do that, try to act tough gig, I'm just kind of like, eh. But with Taz, I'm like, oh, okay.
No, yeah, he's really like that.
Yeah, I like that. You're right, yeah. Like you believe Taz could kill somebody. Like he gives off that vibe. Like he might
probably
kill
did.
You. What did you say?
He probably did.
He probably did. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah,
he was
Stevie
hanging
Ray
with all
does
those ECW guys. Like, what's the other guy? Oh man, I forgot his name now. New Jack.
Oh my gosh, New Jack, dude. I'm not gonna try to front like I was a big New Jack guy, and I knew of him like back when he was like in the the Tennessee promotion, like back when he was pretty young, when they were trying to do like some gangster rap thing in like the early 90s. Like he was in some kind of rapping group. I can't remember him, but he was with like NWA, I believe, back in the day. Like he was on that promotion. Yeah, he's been around for a while too. And then when he got to ECW, that I didn't know that character. I didn't know he went by. I don't know if he changed to New Jack or what. But I saw that behind the Dark Side of the Ring episode of New Jack, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's a guy here who actually is trying to kill people in the ring. Like this is crazy. Like how does this guy make it out alive?
Yeah, like I don't know, like
killed by somebody.
How would anybody want to work with him? I wouldn't want to work with him.
No, I know. No, I mean, like literally, he's gonna kill you like that. Like he almost killed a few people, and if it wasn't for medical attention, he would have. Like, there's like no way, dude. Like, I mean, he comes across like he wants to kill you. Like, it's not like an accident. It's not like a gimmick. Like, if he doesn't like you, he will try to kill you in the ring. Like, it was like crazy. I was like, wow, there's guys like that out there, like who really gets gigs. Like, why would you want to work with this guy? So, and then I don't know if you saw this by Sterling. He said that he met Chris Benoit at the Atlanta airport, kind of a douchebag. He was in a hurry, and I asked him for an autograph, and he said in a crappy tone, "No, I am in a hurry." And he said he did check my hand. I don't know what that meant, but oh shoot, here I go again, dropping stuff. Son of a gun, I'm dropping my stuff. Sorry, or my setup is pretty amateurish. Let's try this again. There we go. Sorry. So let's try to get back here. Smoky Mountain Wrestling. That's it, Otto. You're right. Let's see. All right. Let's see. I'm trying to get caught back up. Let's see. Yeah, the Beyond the Mat episode. Yes. The Dark Side of the Mat with Chris Benoit. That's right, Dave. Yeah, that was a good episode. Have you watched all those before?
I've watched a few of them, maybe like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I agree with you, George. The WWE is pretty weak now. I agree. Like, I could take it or leave it. It's kind of like, man. So, I think the superstars were better than Stone Cold, Rock, Triple H, yeah.
Yeah, back then those guys were like, I think you mentioned before, they were like transcendent stars. Like, even if you weren't a huge wrestling fan, you knew who those guys were.
Yeah, there's nobody right now.
Yeah, there's nobody right now that.
Right. If you go to any random person in like a mall or a shopping center and you said, hey, do you know who Roman Reigns is? No one's going to say, oh, yeah, I know Roman Reigns. You know, they don't know who these characters are. Do you know Asuka? Nope. Do you know, Bianca Belair? Nope. You know, they don't know who these people are. Like I said, you know Randy Orton? Nope. You know, these people don't know who they are. So.
They know John Cena.
Yeah, but John Cena's like.
That's why his rookie card's $300.
Right, but he's like a part-timer now, you know what I'm saying? So, sorry, I'm trying to get this set up where I'm not like end up dropping it again because this is getting ridiculous. My ghetto setup. But talking about ghetto, let me get like this. So yeah, I mean I agree. I agree. I mean, most of these guys are not transcendent anymore, quite frankly, and that's why WWE kept on trying to do these like crazy things, like having Legends Night, trying to bring all the legends back, just so they can try to get ratings up, or they keep on trying to see if they can get The Rock to come back for a match against Roman Reigns, because that's the direction they're trying to head. And I'm just like, oh, man. That's what they rely on, all these old guys to try to come back. And I mean, I don't mean Rock is like an old guy, but guys that, can bring in the crowds, like, sell the tickets. Because no one really cares about who you have right now on
there hasn't been a crowd.
Well, the thing is that AEW they're starting a third show in about 2 weeks. So they're going to have 3 shows now, just like WWE, basically. It's like crazy.
I think maybe like one of the things that has made me lose interest over the past year is the fact that they just have like those TVs in the crowd. Like, I miss the actual people being there.
Well, AEW uses their own wrestlers, and they're letting people come in also.
Well, they do that sometimes too in NXT, but it's still not the same.
Yeah, like, it's not the same.
It would be fun when the crowd would like react big to something. Like, now they try to pipe in that fake noise, and it's just annoying.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm telling you, I know I'm an AEW mark. I'm the first one to admit it, dude. But I'm telling you, like, you give it a try, dude. Like, they have people around the ring. Like, I know it. It's not the same, but they do also have fans, and they show the fans all the time. I mean, it's like obviously at like 20% capacity or something, but at least they have fans there, and they're like singing the songs, and they're going there. You hear them cheering, so it does make a difference for sure. But I definitely get it. It is a weird time as a wrestling fan watching live product. So I'm hoping they're going to get to do some live shows coming up.
I mean, little by little, like other sports are starting to let some people in.
Yeah, I mean, I know baseball, they're letting people in now. Apparently, like the spring training facilities are letting people in at 20 or 30% capacities. And, those fields are much smaller. So you would think, but they like, Major League Baseball stadium that has 40, 50,000 seats or however many, that they would be able to let a lot more people in.
Maybe I can finally get Yankee tickets this year.
Yeah, probably. You'll probably be able to get front row Joe seats. You'll be right behind the home plate. I'll be like, there's Victor. There he is. He's right over there. Look at him.
I haven't been able to go for like a few years now.
So are you thinking to switch it up a bit? Are you, as a Yankees fan, excited about this year? Or are you like not too excited about it?
I mean, I'm always like pretty even keel. I'm not like your typical fan that gets like thinks we're gonna win every single year. Like, I wait to see what they actually look like before I really make a judgment. But obviously, health is the big thing. Like, they already lost one of their young pitchers for like a few weeks, and it's just like every year that's the biggest problem with them now.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, Judge and Stanton, always got to watch out for them.
Right, exactly. And then they lost Tanaka, so probably their best pitcher.
Tanaka left.
Because Garrett Cole really wasn't that great last year, my understanding. He was like, man.
He was okay, but I mean, like, I don't go by anything that happened last year, really.
Right. As you shouldn't.
But really, Cole is like the least of my worries. Like, there's so many other guys on that team that I'm just more worried about, like health and like all those other pitchers that they signed that haven't pitched like in over a year. Like, Severino won't be back for like 2-3 months. So
they might be asking
if they stay healthy, which is a big if, then they got a great team, but they can never stay healthy.
Well, is it Gary Sanchez still there?
Yeah, he's there. I mean, they might as well keep him. Like, they're not paying him that much, and he still has loads of talent, so might as well give him another shot in a full season.
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, if like Judge and Stan stay healthy, then they're going to be pretty formidable. But
I mean, yeah, they play great, but it seems like every 2 weeks they go out for something.
Right. That's very true. But, the good news is they're in the American League East, so there's not really much competition there. So they should be good by default. They should be okay. Wow,
that was a shot at the Rays and the Blue Jays.
Yeah. Who are those teams? I never heard of them. Like, the Tampa Bay Rays are like Pittsburgh South. So they
I think the Rays will take a step back. like a lot of people just assume they're going to be great again. I think they'll take a step back, but the Blue Jays, they have a really good lineup.
Yeah, the Blue Jays
I'm
are
a little bit worried about them.
Yeah, the Blue Jays would be your best competition, I think. I think Orioles are a joke. Red Sox are a joke. Rays, man, they could be surprising, but Blue Jays for sure are the only ones that you need to worry about. Everybody else, you all should like stomp like pretty handedly.
But even then, even if they get in the playoffs, they always like find a way to blow it over there. So
yeah, well that's true. Yeah, I'm just saying they're going to do okay in the American League East. I'm not saying that that they're going to go much further than that.
That's the thing here in New York. If they don't win it all, then nobody cares about like winning the division or winning a round in the playoffs. They want them to win it all, or nothing else matters.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you all those World Series there's a certain level of expectancy now that have to hit.
Like some teams would be happy just like winning a wild card. Like the Yankees look at that as
like
a disappointment.
The Reds were like, yes, finally after 20 years we're in, and then they got beat immediately. So so it was acting like that. But yeah, I think that I feel like obviously like we all know, I think the Dodgers and the Padres. Yeah, I feel like the Dodgers and the Padres are like the two teams to beat this year. So luckily they're going to be beating up on each other in the National League West. So luckily we're going to have that. And so let's hope they beat the power out of each other for quite a few months, soften themselves up a bit. So when we do all have to play them, they won't be maybe playing at a full capacity. Did you get yourself another beer?
No. Should I?
I don't know. Should you? I don't know. You're an adult.
I was hoping somebody else would pop on.
I can always invite more people. I mean, that's not a problem. I mean, you already had to fly solo for like 10 minutes while I'm like handling
I have plenty of stuff I can show.
Yeah, I get it. What about if I just disappear and just let you do your thing? I'll come back and close out the show. Oh man, does anybody else want to hop on with us? I can send you all the link. If anybody wants to pop on here with us, we can talk wrestling or whatever. I know a lot of people don't like being on the camera, which is weird, but I understand. Like, I know even Victor, you're not on camera a whole lot yourself. Like, you're like an international man of mystery.
The thing is, like showing cards like this, I never really liked it. Like, you just don't get the same effect.
Mr. Perfect. Like his son's another one that never really got going.
Got a Mark Henry Olympic card from Upper Deck.
Oh, Mark Henry. There you go. Mark Henry. What's up with him and was it Mae West or whatever her name was, or Mae Young?
Mae Young.
And the hand.
That was one of those moments back then. Like you didn't know how to take that. Like, what am I watching here?
Exactly. That's the reason why when people go. That goes back to people go like the Attitude Era was the best. I'm like, you don't remember some of these things, obviously. Like if you thought of Mark Henry and the Mae Young like storyline was good, then there's something wrong with you.
Like I would like to know whose idea that was.
I'm sure it was Vince McMahon's because like nothing. I mean, if it wasn't Vince's, I'm sure he added something to the flavor of it because that's how
people do say like in some of those like interviews that they do now, they say that Vince has like a real weird sense of humor.
Yeah. Well, look at the stuff that he does. Like, look at the stuff he lets get on screen. So, and I agree. They let Drew Carey beat Goldberg. Is that right?
Drew McIntyre.
Drew Carey? What?
Drew Carey was in the Royal Rumble. Did you know that?
Yeah, I was gonna say Drew Carey won the Royal Rumble or something. I remember that. Yeah, Drew McIntyre. Yes, they did let him do that. That's true.
Yeah, but they completely ruined Drew, in my opinion.
Oh, you see that TVs are way better than the no crowd they did last time. Yes, I agree.
What is it?
He said the TVs were way better than the no crowds at all for WWE.
Oh yeah.
Last summer, but they did no crowds. Yeah, the TVs are much better, but
I just hate what I hate is the sound. Like,
yeah,
it's just like they put like these really loud cheers where they don't really belong. Like nothing big is happening, but you hear like the crowd going crazy, and I'm like, why? Like it sounds like a video game.
Yeah. Oh man, let me see here. Let me see if I'm able to add something to the chat. Let me see. Oh, maybe I can do this. Okay. Maybe it's not as difficult as I thought. So give me 1 second.
How about this guy? Pat Patterson.
Oh, Pat Patterson, the creator of the Royal Rumble.
Passed away recently.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So there, guys, if you all want to join, I know that W. Vogs was in here. Obviously, Sterling, you said you want to join. Dave, you're welcome to join. We'll mix it up a bit.
Oh, here he goes. I was looking for this. The very young Drew McIntyre.
Oh, that is. Wow. Let me ask you this. I'm a huge fan of this guy. I like Sheamus. Do you like Sheamus at all?
Yeah, I've always liked Sheamus, but yet again, he's another one of those guys. Like, at times, he's like in the main event. Sometimes he's like towards the bottom. Sometimes he's on the pre-show. Like, they just can never figure out what to do with him.
I think he's such a great, like he could be, and he's good at either role. He could be a heel or a face. He's good at both. But like you said, it's like they don't use him the right way a lot of times. You're right. Like, or they don't let him stay the same character for long enough for you to actually care too much
like
about.
Just recently, they brought him back. He was like a face for like 2 weeks, and then he turned again. Like,
yeah, he turned on McIntyre and whipping his butt. Right. Yes, that's very true. So yeah, I agree. McIntyre's one of the few, and I like McIntyre okay too, but I'm a huge.
I feel like McIntyre, they've ruined him for the second time now.
Yes.
They ruined him the first time they had him. He left. He reestablished himself like in other places, came back, and now they ruined him again. So we'll see if he can take his career again.
Yeah, they have the Miz that beat him, and then now the Miz and Bobby Lashley have a side story going.
It's like they can't make like a really good like babyface champion anymore. Like when they make a babyface champion, they like make him so like goofy and like I don't know, like goody two shoes. Like just they don't know how to make like a cool babyface champion. Like every time they turn somebody face, you lose interest in them real quick.
Right. But man, the cool thing is up until recently when Jon Moxley he was Dean Ambrose in WWE, but he was the AEW champion for basically the whole year, and then he was like a Stone Cold Steve Austin character. Like you really liked him, and he could cut a promo. He was awesome, and I love it. Oh, we're bringing in Sterling, dude. What up, Sterling?
All right.
What's up, man?
We got some help finally.
Yeah, fine. Victor doesn't have to carry me so much anymore. His back's probably hurting from carrying me the whole time.
I can tag out.
Right, yeah, we got a tag team match going on now. So how have you been, brother?
Good, man. Just busy.
That's good. Well, I'm glad you get to get on. I know I have the kiddo, so a lot of times this kind of stuff's hard for you, so that's cool.
Yes. They went to bed around about an hour ago, so I'm like, hey, why not hop on? First time doing this.
So are you interested in the wrestling talk at all?
Yeah, sure. I was a huge wrestling fan, Goldberg, Hogan, all them guys.
So when did you start watching it, Sterling? Like what were some of your guys you watched when you were growing up and you were big fans of?
I was mainly, I would say Hogan at first, and then I really got into Goldberg and Sting and the Warrior. Growing up, me and my buddies used to watch pay-per-view all the time, and
there you go.
We did a reenactment of wrestling. Nice. I had like 10 guys, and in my buddy's basement, and we had a video camera and everything, and I was like 100 pounds, and I was the giant. So I need to find that video again because it was hilarious. We all dressed up.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, that was taking it to another level. Like my cousins and I would do that too, but we wouldn't like record it or nothing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, we used to get together and it was the same thing. Go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I did the chokehold and everything, the giant, and I threw down my buddy.
If you look on the back of some of these cards, like if I don't know if you collect wrestling cards much, Sterling, but myself and I know Victor does, and I'm starting to get more and more into it. But if you look on the back, they'll say like their finishing moves or their like favorite moves, and like some of them are like nowadays you don't even like use these moves anymore. Like it's almost like so like ridiculous. If you saw somebody do the atomic leg drop like Hulk Hogan, like no one does that. But that was like, I mean, when Hulk Hogan pulled out the leg drop, we were like losing our minds. We're like, oh,
yeah.
oh.
A lot of the old wrestlers,
but now like that's like so lame.
A lot of the old wrestlers, when they do like a podcast or something, they talk about that, and it's true. Like moves that used to be finishing moves, now they get done like 10 times in a match, and that's what kind of diminishes some matches.
Right. And then like
right.
Like I was watching Andre the Giant, and they said his I don't know if it was his finishing move or like his like go-to move was the headbutt. Like that was it. I mean, Andre the Giant, 7'4", big man, and his move was the headbutt. And I'm like, seriously? But if you go back and watch his matches, I mean, that's what he did. I mean, he headbutt people all the time, and you're like, oh. But no one's headbutting each other in wrestling nowadays. Like no one's just walking up. I mean, once in a while you see it. But I mean, like literally, Giant would do it like 5 times in a match. He would headbutt people. So, but yeah. So you liked a lot of those guys early on. I asked this to Victor earlier. I thought I'll ask you. So, did you have any specific wrestler that you were really into that other people didn't really like? And then on the flip side, was there somebody that really everybody liked a lot, but you were kind of like, I don't really care about that guy?
For me, I was not a huge Jericho fan. Why? No, I just wasn't a huge fan of him. And recently, I haven't been into wrestling as much. I would say the past 5 to 8 years, I've been kind of secluded from wrestling as much as possible.
Sure, and I don't blame you. So, I'm telling you, the thing I do find is like the few wrestling channels I've been watching on YouTube, they're like kind of wrestling podcasts or whatever. Like 90% of them so far, maybe more, 95% are strictly WWE commentating. But like if you throw your net a little further, and I'm not just talking about AEW, which I love, but there's Impact, there's Ring of Honor, there's New Japan. There's MLW, Major League Wrestling. There's a bunch of promotions out there now, and they actually have some really good talent. And if you don't like the WWE product, because if you think that's the only thing out there, I'm not saying that about you guys. Like I definitely get it because I watch it too. Like I just got to watch a SmackDown, and like WWE spends 2 hours of their like live show. And like, I'm not even kidding you, 45 minutes of it is just them talking. They're just talking, no wrestling, no story.
Recaps.
Yeah, it's just like no one cares. Like when you go back and watch old school wrestling, even WWE/F back in the day, there was like match after match after match after match, And they have like
you don't really have to watch it every week because they do so many recaps. You could just watch it like once a month, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. That's 100%. Yeah, or you can just watch the recap on like you watch like what culture wrestling out of England. They do like a great YouTube channel. You can watch their 15 to 20 minute recap videos and literally know everything happening. You didn't miss a single thing, and that's pretty sad. That a 2-hour show and the Raw is 3 hours, by the way. Like, right. And you can watch a 15-minute video of them just doing excerpts and be like completely caught up and not even ever caught the show. So,
yeah, they should have had like a Sports Center.
We got Dave in here. Things just got real all of a sudden. I feel like I need to put on a tie. So, what's up, Dave? Doing some cards.
No volume?
Yeah, I can't hear him.
We can't. I don't think we can hear you, Dave. You have your mic on?
This happens to all of us the first time we come on.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
I just right. Well, I disappeared for 10 minutes and Victor had a lead, and now it happens, dude. None of us. I'm ignorant.
My wrestling box some more.
So while Dave's getting himself set up, Shirley, what were you saying a moment ago, bud?
Oh, I used to collect wrestling cards, but I couldn't even tell you where they are at anymore. I mean, I used to have hundreds of hundreds, and yeah, I couldn't even tell you where they're at
To
anymore.
look for them, they're worth a lot now.
Yeah.
Right? I should.
Yeah, it's crazy right now. Like Victor and I were talking at the beginning of this call that like the John Cena 2002 rookie card sold today raw for $300.
Wow.
It's like if you would have asked me that 6 months ago, I'd say maybe $30, not $300.
Right.
Oh, Tatanka, dude, another character you cannot get away with nowadays. You cannot get away with that character. People will lose their minds. Yeah, I love Tatanka. Tatanka was one of my favorite characters back in the day.
Yeah, he was undefeated for a while.
Yes.
But they never.
Well, I mean, like again, if
main belt on.
Well, if you think about it, dude, because again, he was a flashy character, right? He came out in a big headdress. He had that cool like Indian music playing. He started dancing around the ring. Like, he started doing, just doing like he got everybody, all pumped up. Like you were so excited. Then he did that like tomahawk chop head. Like,
I don't think I ever saw this one. I love this one.
Oh, the mouth of the South right there, dude.
Yep.
Let's see if Dave.
He's got the
Still can't hear you.
on.
Yeah, I definitely want Dave to be there. Oh man, he popped up. He was like, I can't do it. Poor Dave.
Yeah, he's got to get on here. I know he has some great stuff.
Oh, I'm not, dude. He has so much fire. I'm gonna have to wear. I'm gonna have to wear oven mittens. Oh, there it is, dude. There it is.
Another one.
Yeah, but mine's numbered lower than yours. So boom.
Mine is numbered to his jersey number.
Mine's. Oh shoot! As I dropped it on the ground, I probably just bent it up. Shoot.
Quit drinking there, Jason.
How about this?
I know, man. And I'm not even drinking. No, I haven't had any alcohol today.
Do you ever want to see this match, Jason?
Oh my gosh, dude. I mean, if it's a cinematic match, I do. I don't want to see them actually taking real bumps.
I mean, I always said, like, even when they brought in Sting a few years ago, even if they would have just had him stare down the Undertaker for like 2 minutes, the crowd would have gone crazy.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Or him come from the rafters. Yeah. Like, that would be amazing. Like, there would be so many cool things you could do with Sting and Undertaker.
You probably weren't watching when she was around. Kelly.
Oh, yeah, Kelly.
I wish I was. I know.
Yeah,
what was that?
I got goosebumps. Sting was going to come back. I knew Sting was going to come back here recently, and I was just like you. I had tears in my eyes whenever I seen him on TV. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's back.
Dude, and they did such a great job bringing him back. Like, seriously, it was amazing. Like, it was absolutely, here we go. Dave's back. Are we back? Nope. I believe in you, Dave. I believe in you. He's cussing his equipment out. He's like, you piece of garbage. He gave him the one finger salute to his equipment. He's like, you are failing me. So right now, Dave's equipment's the heel in this situation. It's totally like the heel. Nope. Testes 1 2. Testes 1 2. Nope.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about Chris earlier.
I think this guy's in AEW now, right? Under a different name, Kenta.
Oh yeah, well he's in New Japan, and he's go. Yeah, it's Kenta, but he did show up recently on AEW, right?
I liked him, but they had him in NXT, and he just kept getting injured.
Yes. Well, it's cool because they're giving guys like smaller guys that because with WWE it's all about the big dudes. Like small guys don't get the same love as the big guys do in WWE. Like everybody has to be 6'7", 300 pounds or whatever to be in their top slots. And they have a lot of guys in AEW that are like the Kentas, and they have even Moxley's not a huge guy, but they have Ray Phoenix, which is amazing. I mean, they just have so many great wrestlers right now. Oh, there we go.
Am I on? You hear me?
You're on.
Yep, you're on.
Finally.
Cool. All right.
All right, I'm starting to get nervous. I was like, we got to make this happen.
All right.
So what were you showing us a moment ago?
All right, cool. So I'm finally here.
Yes, sir.
There you go, guys. Look at that.
Oh my gosh! Look, do you see that dude Hogan? Oh my gosh!
Right away with the Hogan.
Man, dude, that's
it.
All right, I'm gonna put my Rusev back in my pack here. Sorry, I'm gonna hide it. What was that number? What was that number to?
Hogan's number to 20.
Man, that Hogan was beautiful. Oh,
20.
Ric Flair. Oh my, that's a great signature too. Oh my gosh, Ric Flair. Oh man, dude.
Let me fix some real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, make sure you have your pants on.
Do you have the Undertaker? If you have the Undertaker, I'm walking out right now.
No Undertaker.
I don't think Taker did that many autographs. I could be wrong.
He started a bit more the past few years, but yeah, for the longest time he wasn't signing at all.
Yeah.
Okay, can y'all hear me still?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
I keep hearing an echo on my end, so it's coming in later after I've been talking. So.
No problem. Oh, there you go, Diesel.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to get one of him with the NWO shirt.
Yeah, it's Kevin Nash.
And then, dang it.
Oh, Booker
T. Yes, that's. I liked his King Booker character. That was probably my favorite Booker T character, aside from when he was with Harlem Heat.
Yeah, that's all I got.
That's
Man,
it.
A bunch more, but I sold a bunch a couple years ago.
Fire.
Yeah.
You think you just started that a couple weeks ago?
No. I sold a bunch of my autos a couple years ago.
I thought you said you just started this a couple weeks ago. I'm like, you mother of pearl. I started about 2 weeks ago. And I already got Hogan, Flair, there's a few of the little guys.
The Flair I bought at the National my first year I went, or second year, one of the two. So I've had that one for about 5 years. Hogan.
How much did you buy it for at the time, if you don't mind me asking?
Man, I think I bought it for $30.
Oh my gosh, $30.
Yeah. But I also got off of Victor may know RBI Crew 7. I don't know if you remember them.
Oh yeah, I remember them. I don't watch them much anymore. Are they still on YouTube?
No, they haven't made videos in a while, but they're always at the National, so they always hook up all the YouTube guys. So I got a pretty good deal from them that one. Hogan,
That's awesome.
I think I paid $70 for Hogan several years ago.
That's not bad either.
$500 autograph now.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. That is crazy. Those on-card
one of my
autographs.
goals to get more legends in the wrestling collection. I have a lot of the current guys, but I want more of the past names.
You gotta go.
want to get.
You gotta go with Leaf. Then Leaf has those products out. They have a lot of legends.
Yeah, I got
Leaf
one
products.
from Leaf. I couldn't find it in there. It was a kind of a.
That's where Stevie Ray is. That's how you get a Stevie Ray auto off of the Leaf.
Let's see
Leaf
if I
has
can find
that.
it, 'cause I really want to show you this one. But as I say in the video that I release tomorrow, like I don't even know some of the stuff I have. Like that's how you know you got to look through your cards more. I forget what I have sometimes.
Yeah, I think we all probably have that experience.
Like I pulled an autograph of a guy, and I didn't even know if that was my first auto of him or not. Like, like how does that happen?
Yeah, I was going through my wrestling autographs, and I had a Lita autograph. I didn't even know I had a Lita.
Just as you said that, I saw this one.
Oh, boom, Lita. Man, she was my favorite, dude.
Got
She was
that
by
from
far.
Hard R Cards. Gave me a great deal on that.
Man, that's awesome. Dude. She was hot, dude. That was my girl back. If I had to pick a girl back then, that would have been her. Man,
Yeah.
So Dave, you said you watched AEW. You're a big fan.
Yeah, I've been a little behind the last month and a half or so. Just watching Monday, and then watching again Wednesday, and it's one of those days. Like me and my wife usually watch TV Wednesdays, so I got to go back and watch them and
Sure.
back and stuff like that. But yeah, dude, I think they're doing awesome over there. So
Yeah.
You ever see this guy, Jason? Jay Lethal.
Lethal.
Jay Lethal.
He was doing Black Machismo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ripoff.
Him and TNA was awesome.
Yeah. Where is he at now? Is he
I
at
don't know.
TNA?
I think he's with ROH. I think.
ROH. You're right.
I think he's their champion.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was at. There he is, the giant dude. Oh man, Andre. So, hey Sterling, I was going to ask you: did you ever go watch any wrestling when you were growing up? Did you ever go to any matches up in Fort Wayne or anything?
I did not go to any matches here in Fort Wayne. I knew there were definitely some available. They were here quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, when you go back and watch a lot of those old WWE and WWF matches, you will see they pick some random places in the United States. Like I saw they did a whole night of wrestling at Notre Dame, the Catholic University in Indiana. They did a whole show there. They did a show in Terre Haute, Indiana, which has a few thousand people.
You know,
they did
the building where I go to the card shows.
And I'm like,
yeah, the building where I go to the card shows, which is kind of small. They do wrestling shows there. At first, I thought, how are they going to pull this off? Because it was kind of a small place, but it kind of works. It's kind of cool to have a small setting like that. There's a lot of energy in the crowd and everything, so they can pull it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that. So Dave, were you a big fan of? You're in Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So were you a big fan of the early Texas regional places?
No, I was in New York still until 1991.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't really I think we moved. I was a big WWF fan until probably high school, and then I kind of stopped watching. I got back into it in '97, right in the NWO WCW stuff. So I watched mostly. I didn't really watch WWE until after kind of towards the end of WCW, and I kind of started watching back and forth. And then obviously when
did you watch
WCW went away.
Did you watch ECW?
No, we got Blue Meanie.
The Blue Meanie.
I've watched. I've gone back and watched some stuff but not a whole lot on ECW. Just kind of highlights and stuff like that from video footage and stuff like that. But now this is a WCW guy.
I gotta get an auto of this guy.
Who's that?
Dragon Steamboat.
Oh, there's one was Topps.
He's
WWE
really good with
Legends
him,
or Legacy, and he has a big crazy hat thing. Yeah, I want to get that one too.
Yeah, he was probably my favorite baby face was Steamboat when I was a kid growing up, dude. I mean, I love Ricky the Dragon. I remember, I know I've shared the story before, but I always like to say when they came to Louisville, where I'm from, Southern Indiana, my dad got his tickets right on the rail. So he knew that we might get the chance to like high five them, you know, when they came through like 87, 88, whatever it was. And so Steamboat's coming down. He's my favorite wrestler of all time, probably, like as far as a face. Like, because Steamboat never was a bad guy. He never turned heel ever. He always was a face. And he comes down the aisle, and you know he's doing his, you know, like they all do, coming down, slapping their hands and everything. My brother reaches out and gets to like high five him or touch his shoulder, and I missed him. And I remember like I was like crying. I was so mad and upset. And my brother was like, I touched Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And he was like, you know, he was so excited. And I was like, shut up.
Does he still bring it up?
Oh, yeah, he still brings it up. He's like, you know what, Jason? I still haven't washed his hands since 87 or whatever. So, yeah.
Did y'all watch that Ric Flair documentary on ESPN? I guess the 30 for 30 with Flair.
Yes.
Man, they're showing him and Steamboat like going at it, just chopping each other for like an hour.
Yeah, smack. Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, dude. I mean, if you watch AEW, like I said, like you don't see that much really right now on WWE anymore.
No,
but AEW, they're those guys' chests look like roast beef afterwards. I mean, it is like they'll get into these slap matches where they're just like smacking each other, and it is like beat red on their chest, and you're like, wow. I mean, and the girls are doing it too, man. Those girls are laying into each other sometimes, and I was like, wowzers. So you don't really see that too much on WWE right now. Like they'll do one or two, but AEW they do like 20 in one match.
The women's division gotten better? Because from what I heard, like early on, it was like the AEW women's division was pretty bad. They were saying.
Yeah, I think it's getting better. I mean, I don't think it's not WWE. I think WWE has a much stronger women's division without a doubt. But they have a handful of really good wrestlers right now, and they're starting to make a move in the right direction. So I don't know if you know Thunder Rosa, but she's from NWA, but she's pretty much wrestling now at AEW. She definitely brings the game a lot higher. And then Serena Deeb, who used to be on WWE.
Oh, yeah, I remember her.
She was like in the CM Punk faction.
Yeah, that was like her best run right there.
Right. She's over there now. She's the NWA champion, but she wrestles in AEW. And then they have a couple of their own wrestlers that are getting better. And they're finally bringing over the Japanese wrestlers who couldn't come back over because of COVID. And they're starting to make their way back to America. So I do see them getting better, but yeah, I think AEW or WWE had. What do you think, Dave? I mean, you probably see it. What's your thoughts?
So I know that like they were not putting them on TV as much. That kind of probably hurt them a little bit.
Yes.
Very little airtime, but I guess with the third show coming on, that should be able to give everybody some more matches. I do think the WWE women are better
Yes.
right now. I mean, they just have more stars. That's the only thing. But overall, the WWE full shows are kind of boring.
Yeah, I'll say this. Even as a WWE fan, I like their women, but like everything else, I feel like they don't book them properly. So they're kind of going away.
I thought some of the pay-per-views have been pretty good on the network. You know, Rumble was pretty good. Elimination Chamber seemed like it was pretty good. And there was another one I watched.
Yeah, that's fair.
That was pretty good, but that's about it.
And I don't know how you all feel. I know it's a Vince McMahon thing, but like I feel like WWE, like all the girls have to have the same look. They all have to be pretty, like super attractive. They have like gigantic chests. Like they have to be like some kind of superhero character, like all the time. Like very rarely do you not see, but in AEW, the women look like real women like half the time. Like some of them are really fit that mold, but a lot of them look like just normal looking women. And I'm like, okay. And I think that sometimes that doesn't translate to guys liking them because guys like the WWE looking women, they all look super hot. Like they just walked off the cover of some like swimsuit model edition.
Yeah, most of them. I mean, besides you got Nia Jax.
Well, yeah, not Nia Jax.
Like Shayna Baszler. Those are like the three.
Yeah, that's true. But I like the other like 20, the other 20 look like that, right?
Shayna's somewhere on the shirt here.
Oh, there she is. Yeah, that's it. Oh, and Ronda. I wonder if Ronda Rousey's gonna come
MMA
back.
Days. They were all friends with Ronda Rousey, and they came over to wrestling.
Yeah,
I don't think she likes the schedule.
Who, Ronda?
Yeah, I agree.
Ronda, she may come back for a match or two, but maybe a little run as champion or something
What
like
I
that.
would say about that is you can't really blame her because if you know like her whole MMA story, like since she was really young, she was working really hard at the whole MMA game. So like she like deserves some time to just be a regular person for a while.
Yeah.
Like you see her now, she's like enjoying life now. Like she's playing video games, hanging out on her farm and shit. Like
Yeah, plus
Well,
she
where
has
does
enough
she
money,
live?
she's not have to do nothing.
What state does she live in? She has a farm?
yeah, I don't know where she lives, but
think
like if you
she's-
see her on Instagram,
I think she's
she's
in
always-
California,
Oh, okay.
but she's like in like rural California, not like
Sure.
LA, California.
Right. Probably not too many farms in LA.
No.
No.
Is anybody like her?
Stacey, is that Stacey Evans?
Lacey.
Yeah.
Or Lacey Evans, yeah. Yeah.
I like her
she's,
sometimes.
she's currently pregnant with Ric Flair's baby. So the storyline goes.
That's not real, Jason.
Well, she's really pregnant, but not with Ric Flair's baby, apparently.
She's gonna give birth to a hand.
Oh.
Wow, where's Mark Henry at? Mark Henry's like, yes. But you know, if that doesn't work, you just blame it on Hornswoggle.
This guy just started a podcast.
Who is that?
And
Damien
now,
Sandow, Ms. Dow.
dude, I thought that I liked him he was a pretty good heel, and he was real funny with the Miz. But they just, another character they just blew.
I like these, Dave. You got any of these?
No, I don't have any of those. Who's
I
that?
don't even know what these are called, but I want more of them. I like some art cards.
Now, what happened with Zack Ryder came to AEW and then just disappeared? What happened with that? I love that.
So the story with that is that he just got out of the long-term contract with WWE. They let him go, but he had been there with them for like 12 years or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And they cut him or whatever you want to say. And then he went to AEW because he's friends with Cody. And he only agreed to sign like a four match deal or whatever.
Okay, that's all it was. Yeah.
Right. And so because he said he wants to focus on his podcast because he does like a wrestling action figure podcast.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And
It's pretty good.
And so he told Tony Khan like he's just not ready to make a whole commitment. And then he said around December, TNA reached out to him and said, "Hey, we have a storyline we thought you might be interested in going on if you're interested." And he said, "Yeah, man, I'm interested in doing it." So he's over there right now with a storyline they're doing over there.
Oh, really? Okay.
So he showed up,
TNA.
and man, dude, he looks like $1 million. I didn't realize how like ripped he looked. He showed up on AEW. It looked like I don't even know what. Like he looked amazing, and so yeah, he's doing really well over at TNA.
Well, you got to think.
So what do you
guy with
think,
a bunch
Dave,
of
about
money,
no
he can just work
crossover?
out.
What was that?
I said, he's with Zack Ryder. He just has a bunch of money, doesn't have to work. All he has to do is
Oh,
work
yeah.
all day long. That's it.
He said he makes more money off his podcast now than he does when he was with WWE. Can you imagine that?
No, well, he has a bunch of followers.
Yeah. So, what do you like, Dave? The crossover that AEW is doing with all the other promotions, or what's your thoughts?
So I think it'll keep it exciting in different matches. I mean,
Yes,
that's one thing with
big sure.
WWE. You see the same match every week. It's like pay-per-view.
Yes.
The Monday and the storyline doesn't stop. It just kind of you just wrestle the same.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest complaints. Like I feel like you watch them have a match on Raw, and then they have like a tag team match with the same people next week, and then some other kind of gimmick match. By the time you get to the pay-per-view, they seem to have like the exact same match that they've been having the past few weeks. So it's kind of boring.
Yeah. No, I do like some several feuds in one. So one guy's feuding with like 2 or 3 different people, so they can at least have like a pay-per-view with that guy, and then maybe jump into another one and maybe do a triple threat later. They're always fighting different people, but they just more of that.
You guys mentioned this lady.
Nia Jax. Oh, my hole. Have you all saw that? You all got to go watch that if you haven't seen it. Oh, Samoa Joe. Yeah.
All right.
Have y'all ever seen that Scott Steiner video where he does the math? He does that math video. That cracks me up every time.
It's hilarious.
Oh, you seen it, Sterling?
Yep.
That like, if I ever want to laugh, that's like when I want to laugh. I'll turn that on because it's so crazy.
Ultimate Warrior was on YouTube like a long time ago, like probably like a decade ago. And he used to have like some really like inspirational videos. Like some of them would actually like hype me up. like he was really good at it.
Yeah, I remember.
What were you saying?
Ric Flair was in Fort Wayne. I think they had at the Coliseum, Jason. They had a match or whatnot, and Ric Flair was there, and he went out on the town in Fort Wayne to the deck, which is a bar and grill, and he got kicked out because he was saying things he wasn't supposed to, cussing out the waiter and everything, and they threw him out.
That was the life back then.
Oh my gosh. How long ago was that? Do you know?
That was 2 or 3 years ago. It wasn't that?
Oh, he's still living that life.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Dude.
Yeah, that was probably last week.
Yeah. It was today o'clock or whatever. It was like,
right.
You ever see that when they did the wife swap with Ric Flair and Roddy Piper?
No. I've heard about it, but no.
That was good, yeah.
Which wife was that?
Wife's all kind of housewife, kind of just not.
Which wife was it?
Yeah, I think it's current one. But yeah, it was pretty funny.
Oh, I just remembered. I had this buddy in school. He had Down syndrome, and he was a big wrestling fan, huge wrestling fan. So he always came to school, and we always talked about wrestling together. And he was a big Rock fan. He loved The Rock, and he also loved Steve Austin. On every paper, he put his name and 316 on every school paper he ever did. And his parents took him to a match here in Fort Wayne, and The Rock made a short appearance, and he was disappointed. So they went to Applebee's across the street, and guess who showed up at Applebee's across the street?
Oh my gosh.
The Rock walked in the door, and his face blew up. He had a fake belt and everything. And so The Rock went out to his vehicle or whatever and got one of them fake belts, signed it and everything, and gave it to him. He blew up. He came to school the next day with the belt, and it was just amazing to see.
Dude, I would have worn that belt.
I'd wear it right now to work. I'd be like, hey guys. Like that. Oh my God. I'm like, shut your mouth like that.
From what I heard, The Rock was always like really good with the fans.
Yeah.
Always good with the fans.
Well, you know what's funny was that and I completely agree. I was watching, if you all remember back in the day, they had ESPN Outside the Lines. Do you all remember that show like in the 90s?
Yep.
So they did an episode on WWF at the time. And, it was like an hour-long expose, interview and all this kind of stuff. And you kind of forget about this, but it goes back to what Sterling was saying, was that there was a time when people were watching, like kids that were like much, much younger than probably should have been, watching Raw and SmackDown, whatever. And everybody was running around telling everybody to suck it. And they'd be like, suck it,
Oh, that little
and
kid.
They said that kids across the United States were getting expelled or suspended from school because anytime a teacher told them to do something, they say, you know what? You can suck it. Like drop the X on them. And they did this whole thing about it. And then all the kids were in class doing the whole X thing. Mm-hmm. And if you think about that, no matter if you're in California, New York, Indiana, whatever, all the kids were doing the same type of stuff. Every boy was all about it, all about that suck it life. And then, of course Vince McMahon's like, oh, that that's not my fault, that's the parents' fault, blah blah blah. Which is I agree with that to a certain degree. But I remember thinking that was such a phenomenon in the United States and at that demographic. All those kids are running around screaming "suck it" to everybody.
Dude, that was the best. I remember
It was,
having,
dude.
it was at like 99, I guess, or 98, whatever. They had was it Hogan Goldberg on Nitro. And
Yeah, I remember.
I had like 15 people at my house to watch Monday Night Nitro that day. It was crazy.
It was. I remember that.
Oh my gosh.
I remember watching that like really late because I would watch Raw first and then Nitro would have the replay.
Mhm.
But then it would end really late and I had like school the next day. But I didn't care.
Well, that's how I got back into it. Was was Nitro? I was flipping through the channels, and I saw Hogan with Dennis Rodman. He was a bad guy, and I'm like, "What is this?" And back on, and I end up watching the 2 hours, and then like 3 weeks later, I end up buying a pay-per-view because I was just all into it, like right from there. So
That is awesome.
Alone.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Ron's over here going, it doesn't matter what your name is. That's right. Oh my gosh. So if there's a oh, there he is, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Here's Junior.
Man. Money, 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 money. Yeah.
Junior had the looks, but he just didn't have the it factor.
Who?
DiBiase Jr.
Oh yeah, yeah. I thought you said DiBiase. I'm like, no, what are you talking about? Yeah, he did. Watch your. Oh, I thought you said not another victim. Oh, who's that? Is that Taz?
Yeah.
Nice.
yeah, DiBiase Jr. I mean, they had it. They had him made where they put him in rows with Randy Orton.
Yes.
They just didn't do nothing good with it.
Yeah, exactly. All three second generation, third generation wrestlers, whatever, and they couldn't put it together. If you're not down with that, I got 2 words for you. That's right. Oh my gosh, those are such like taglines that
I
immediately.
gotta see how much
think of
this
that.
is going for.
Oh, the Rockers, dude! I love me some Rockers, dude.
Wow.
Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels, baby.
Man, I think I had all those cards. I can't remember if I tossed them out recently or they're in a box.
Oh no,
Yeah, some of the
Yeah.
80s ones that I had are
man!
going
Did
crazy
you?
now.
Don't tell me you put them in your fire pit, Dave. Come on. Dude.
No, I didn't. I didn't do the mic thing. So
You're like it got cold here in Texas, a couple weeks ago, and you remember the ice storm. So something had to
Yeah.
go in the fire pit.
Do you have the
So-
network, Dave?
I do the network. Yeah.
Did you see the recent special they had about the APA?
No, I haven't. I don't really watch too much of it.
That was really good. I love like all the
Yes.
like behind the scenes specials or whatever that they have. They do a really good job with those.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing. I think that's what's worth having the network is for that stuff. I think I'm gonna end up having to buy Peacock so I can watch that stuff.
Well, Peacock's only gonna be like $4.99 a month, so it's like
Yeah,
$5 from the network.
right. Exactly. I'm gonna definitely
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think it's
there,
worth
everybody. There's
Refractor.
everybody's head of the table. Favorite
Let's
head of
send
the
this
table.
to PSA.
Oh man, I bet people instead of wrestling cards like go the PSA
Oh yeah, a ton
like
of them.
out of control now. Dude, I heard somebody say that PSA at the beginning of the year started receiving 215,000 cards a month.
That's crazy.
Dude,
Can you believe that?
so it's crazy. Like I was
Wow, there's a
almost like 5 years ago, maybe 6. The PSA bulk specials were like $5.50 a card to send in to get graded,
Wow.
and then like obviously can't do that no more. But I mean,
Did they raise their prices recently?
Hmm?
I heard they might be raising their prices today. Did anybody hear if they raised their prices today or
I think so. I
tomorrow?
think I heard that too.
oh, I think March, like 1st or something, or possibly right. In the
Raised
beginning.
them recently.
I know, like
What was that?
They have raised them recently because I'm in a group submission with Dustin Bellinger, and he gives us those updates of if they're raising prices and whatnot. And it's been 7-8 months since I've sent in, and I haven't got anything back yet. So they're taking forever.
yes, I did a video last night, and I got I think last week, because my stuff goes through JT Triple Crown and
Okay.
my group, and my June submission, half of it came back last week, and the other half is still there. That was from so I guess I got the ultra modern back, but the regular modern is still there, and it's probably going to be a month and a half, 2 months before it gets that back out.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, dude, it's like crazy.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it used to be, 30 days, or I think we did 45 days. So really in about 6-7 weeks, we get our cards back. When I was doing it back 5-6 years ago, $5 cards. It's pretty cheap. And then, now it's just it's almost unaffordable to send some of the stuff, especially if you're just trying.
For sure.
I try to usually flip some cards out of my submission so I can pay for my submission. I'll keep the cards I want, and I'll pay for them to get flip the other stuff, so it's all break even. We can't even do that now.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, you really have to make sure what you're sending makes sense, because if not, you're going to be paying a lot of money for cards that you're not going to be able to do anything with, because one, it's so expensive now, and two, if you're not getting the grades that you're looking, like you said, to flip one or two to make your money back, you're going to be in trouble, because it's not going to be worth the effort, the money, because it's going to be too much. You're gonna be in, what is it? You're in too deep at that point. You're too much in the red to make the money back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is my first time doing it, and I'm just so anxious because I have, 5 or 6 of my top Jordan cards, and it's just like, come on, I want them back.
Right, but those are gonna be your PC, right? You're not selling those.
No, not selling one bit.
Right. I was just saying, because I know you love your Jordan, dude. You have some amazing Jordans.
Yeah. I got two rookies. I got the Flair and the Flair sticker sent there, and I know they're going to be low grading, but I don't care.
Right.
Jordan,
Oh yeah. Who cares?
Yeah. If it's at 86, 87, it doesn't matter what the grade is.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
I'll take
matter.
half graded to 0 and
Yeah,
slap
I'll
that
take it in
fucker.
a -1.
It's going to be a 1 or a 2. I know that, but hey,
Right.
whatever. I don't care.
Oh no, I totally agree. I think that's the kind of card that's for sure, without a doubt.
It's the kind of card you kick yourself in the ass for not buying 5 years ago when it was like $1,000,
Right.
like a PSA 8.
Right.
I
always think
I had a chance to buy the entire set for $1,000 over 10 years ago for my buddy's dad. And, back then, I guess it was more like 15 years ago. Back then you spent your money on whatever else, and I wasn't even into that. And I'm like, now I'm kicking myself in the teeth. I could have had the entire set for $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And that set has so many other rookies in it too. It's not just Jordan.
No, it's great.
So I mean, you would definitely been able to make your money back if you just still, sold a few of them and kept your Jordan or whatever. So it definitely would have made sense. But you don't think about that. It's always hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
Like how many of us remember back in the 80s or early 90s or whatever? You go to a card shop or a card show, and like all the vintage, like all the Koufaxes and Williams and Mantle cards were like $10, $5, $15, and now it's like, those cards are like, you can't even look at them for like less than $100, and it's just like, they're just sitting in a stack of cards. I remember I used to go to shops where they had like all the Mantles in a stack and all the Aarons in a stack and the Willie Mazes, and they were like $10, $15, $8, $7, It's just like, those days are long gone, I think. So you're not finding those cards sitting in a stack for $8.
Well, you're crazy. Like that 86, 87 Fleer set, I've been trying to like collect all the 80s rookies and that. So, but I've been holding off, like just saying, I'll just buy that later. Like just say 8s of like Isaiah Thomas or something like that. And it was like 25 to $30. I'm like, I think I can get it for like 22, just kind of just passing on it and not getting it. And then now when I go buy, it's like $90 for an 8. And I'm like, oh, fuck. It's like, I may not be able to do that now.
That's
Or
what
just
happened to
wait
me
for the
with
prices to just go.
with the Ewing rookie from that set. I kept saying like, I could get that whenever, and now it's kind of expensive to get that.
Oh, hold on one sec. I'll show you.
How All right, how much are they, Victor Raw? Like a Ewing card?
I haven't
And it's
checked in a while, but I wouldn't want it raw though. I would want it graded, like whatever grade, but I would want it graded, just for
Like at least
authenticity. And what do you get there?
oh,
Oh, there you go.
there it is, Patrick Ewing right there. A 9.
Too. That's
And the
good.
9. It was crazy. This was a gift from a YouTuber.
Yeah, some of
Wow.
those YouTuber gifts
Yeah.
are crazy.
I bet he regrets that now.
Yeah, I have that one. I'm working on that set.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a
Actually,
Jordan.
I have
That's
the
a
Jordan
beautiful
already.
one.
Yep.
Victor might like this. Hold on.
Do you all have the Menendez brothers card?
Yeah, I finally got
Yes,
one
I do.
recently.
Yep.
I bet you I have it in a binder. I don't even know. Victor might like.
Oh yeah, I also don't have a Ewing auto.
Oh, Ewing Auto's sick, dude. Oh my gosh, I love that.
See, that's why I've always liked Dave videos, because he always collects like the same stuff I collect.
I know, dude. Yeah, exactly. Oh, what do we got there?
Oh, that's from that same Fleer set.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude. That Jordan's sick, man. I don't have any cool cards to show you all. I have some wrestling cards. Some Little Caesar wrestling cards.
You have a Rob Van Dam.
Yeah, RVD, baby.
Hey,
Oh,
Victor,
my God.
have you seen this one yet?
I'll be right back, guys.
What's that?
The Spanish.
No, I don't think I've seen that. I mean, there's so much like rare Jordan stuff like that I haven't seen.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Dude, I just saw like I've been posting it on Facebook or whatever. Like there's a card that has like a nobody player, but now the PSA is saying it's like this guy that says featuring Jordan because Jordan's on the card,
Oh yeah.
like thousands of dollars.
yeah.
Even cards like Kobe cards where like Jordan is guarding them and stuff like that. Like those have gone up.
Well, what was that 90 NBA hoops with Sam Vincent and Jordan with the number 12?
Yeah, number 12.
Yep. I have that somewhere around here.
Dude, so talking about Kobe, I sold his 2 of his rookies this last year, and I thought I did pretty well on them, but now I'm watching the prices now with the PSA stuff.
Yeah,
Just from
I just checked the other day. Some of the like higher end ones, they're like ridiculous now.
it's like I don't understand how that happened.
Yeah, there's that number 12.
Yeah, that's the card
I
I
have
think.
that one in my binder.
Yeah, it says featured Jordan.
Yep.
But yeah, the Kobe's, thankfully, I never sold any of them. But what I'm upset about is I should have bought so many more of them. Like you could have got them so cheap for so long.
Oh
Dude,
yeah.
so at the National, man, in Cleveland, they were selling, I think Baseball Card Exchange under daily deals had Kobe rookies and a BGS 9 for $10.
Wow.
And I mean, I bought one and I sold it for like 150. And I was like, oh, I did real great. Now that it's probably like $600 card now.
Like even his lower end ones, you could have got them for like $3-5 back then.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't pay for. I had the one, the upper deck, I guess, with just his face, real big,
Yeah.
with I guess sunglasses on his head, whatever. Yeah, that one. I bought it was a couple bucks.
Yep.
Equal sugar.
Yep. Equal sugar. Dang. That came out in like 91.
Yeah, see, you have a lot of that like rare stuff.
Yeah.
I just have like the mainstream stuff.
Right. Right. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I got a bunch of Jordans with bent corners.
What happened to Jason?
Oh, he's out.
We was doing some pointy thing a minute ago, and then yeah,
He was.
These streams are always funny to watch because something like that always happens.
let's see, see if there's anything on the feed here.
Nah, we just had a few guys in on the wrestling talk.
Yep. Not too many. Yeah, I was at Atlanta Airport, I would say 15 years ago, and all of a sudden I see this short, huge guy walking beside me, and I look over. It's Chris Benoit, and I shook his hand, asked him for his autograph, and he was real busy. He was walking pretty fast. He's like, "No, man, I gotta go." He was kind of crappy about it, but oh well. Shook his hand, met him for a little bit, and then a couple years later, the issue happens with him. I'm just like, oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, that was some crazy stuff with him.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean,
and that dude was intense. Like, I don't understand how. I mean, these guys are professionals, but I don't like I don't know if you could run full speed into the turnbuckle and just know you're gonna knock yourself fucking silly and fall down. Like, I don't make this, but how do you even do that? And flying headbutts and.
That's why I always say, like, I've gotten into so many arguments with people that like disrespect it and say like it's so fake and everything. Obviously it's scripted, but like those guys take a beating.
Oh, they do. I mean, look at Mick Foley. Look at all the surgeries he had to have done.
I always tell people, like, so here's like the fake part of wrestling. Hey, I'm gonna hit you with a chair, and here's the real part. You just got hit with a freaking chair. And that's what it is.
Right?
But yeah, I'm not going to try to kill you with the chair, but we still got to make it look good.
Dude, I did catch one time, because, I mean, I kind of, obviously we were fans, we kind of know how it all works. But I've never seen, like, when they're bleeding, and I caught Hogan one time, like, cutting his head with the razor blade before he got hit with the chair. It was like, it was so smooth. Like, he was just turning around. I saw him, like, messing with his hand in his little sweatband.
Yeah.
And then right when he's about to turn around, his hand goes up above his head. He goes like this, and then turns at perfect timing and goes,
oh, wow.
Smashed. And I was like, I can't believe I just saw that. Like, it was so quick that I'm like, how good they are when they doing that kind of stuff.
That's how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
Jason,
you just seem like it's laying there like all dead on the mat, but his hand's still like putting the razor blade back in his pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, after a while, I started looking for stuff like that.
Yeah, and I just couldn't believe I caught it. It was just, it was like boom, and it just such a quick swipe.
Boom.
Knocked.
Jason just texted me. He said his battery's about ready to die. He's like, I'm sorry.
Well, how do we end this?
Well, my battery's gonna die here shortly too. So
we just click it off, I guess.
Yeah, I'm good. What's it? You guys what? Victor, you're at midnight over there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, it's midnight here too.
Yeah. So I'm only 11, but I'm good to watch some TV before I go to bed. So.
All right, guys.
Cool. Let's do this again. It's fun.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Take care, guys.
Night.